The following is brought to you by the People's National Party.
Make the trumpets play. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them grave. They can tell me how we can do it together. When we look at the future of precipice, we see Jamaica needs the vision of the PNP. People said the bag of promises, them can't carry go shop. And the crime rate getting high, I wonder when it all goes now, comrades. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them grave. We can tell me how.
The proceeding was brought to you by the people. The following is brought to you by the People's National Party.
Make the trumpets play. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them grave. They can tell me how we can do it together. When we look at the future of precipice, we see Jamaica needs the vision of the PNP. People said the bag of promises, them can't carry go shop. And the crime rate getting high, I wonder when it all goes now, comrades. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them grave. We can tell me how.
The proceeding was brought to you by the People's National Party.
So why you come to me with that foolishness, you know? You elect a prime minister, and is a prime minister run the country. It is time we learn to hold our leaders accountable for their actions and stop making excuses for them. Stop making excuses. Otherwise, go elect the people who really run in the country. And I don't want to right there that stupid argument. Hold the people you elect accountable. And stop making excuses for them.
Hello, welcome. Happy Tuesday to everyone in television land. Happy Tuesday to all our silent supporters. Happy Tuesday to everyone in the chat. Hope everyone is having a wonderful and productive week so far. Tonight's topic is truth and reconciliation with your host Byron and Anne-Marie. And remember, guys, when you come in, thumbs up the live, share us out if you can. And if you're new to the channel, please show us some support by subscribing. So later on, we should be joined by Daisy Magazine and also Mr. Rattigan. And guys, remember to go over and support Daisy Magazine at maxter.com/p/Daisy. Let me go ahead and just welcome those in the chat. Sylvia Chambers, Youngans, Beverly, Sonia Foster, Dorothy McCoy, Patel Crookshanks, Tenet Palmer, Truck Life, Rejoice, Always in Him, Laris Beckford, Carla Evans, Beres White, Sam Allen, Noreen McLean, Rennie Swaby, Sandra Cole, Serene Sue, Natalia Freeman, Marva Dice, Elaine Turner, Carl Hewitt, Monica Hall, Blendon, Patrick Evans, Natalia Freeman, G. Angel, Leonie Denton, Jeanette Letts, Marie, Real Black Woman, Gigi Jones. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. Without any delay, I'm going to hand over to Baron while I do some housekeeping.
All right. Thank you, Oni, for that usual wonderful precursor there in greeting our subscribers, both locally and internationally. Well, Jamaica, my Jamaican people, tonight, you know, as always, is going to be quite interesting. We are going to be touching on, you know, various topics, right? But the primary thing for tonight, as it relates to the thumbnail, right? Truth and reconciliation. We have seen all sort of antics, right, being played out as it relates to this Jamaica Labour Party administration. And what we are going to do, we are going to do some deep dive and bring forward evidence, right? Evidence that cannot be disputed. Cannot be disputed. Now, someone earlier today sent me a clip as it relates to a particular platform. I'm not going to call the platform name. And I mean, persons can lean to their perception. And the person who sent me the clip, the person was very upset because in terms of how the narrative spin on that clip. So that platform was, that platform was speaking. Bless up, Sister Maria, how you doing?
Big up my brother, walk on. Big up man Byron. Anne Marie, walk on, sister.
Thanks.
All right. Love the new look.
Yeah, baby. Wash and go. Wash and go. Get up and go. Yeah, and sorry. I'm a little under the weather. You know, this time of the year is rough for me with the allergy. So from yesterday, I've been, sneezing, coughing. So I've been taking stuff for it. So, I'm doing a little better today than yesterday. So, but I'm here.
Well,
and to everybody in the chat, a blessed good night.
Yes, it appears as if you last 15 years.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Oh, you're making me blush.
All right.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right. So I'm just speaking on information that I received as it relates to a particular platform. Was talking about FinSoc debacle and what was communicated there in terms of the host, right? Kind of narrative to say that Omar Davis responsible as it relates to FinSoc debacle, and this is it when you have, well, you can do your research, right? And it all depends on your comprehension, right? Because people need to understand, how FinSoc was triggered. And when people are talking about the financial meltdown in the 1995, right? People need to separate, right? The 1995 financial meltdown, right? And FinSoc. The 1995 financial meltdown is what caused FinSoc to be triggered, right? Where the government utilized, right, certain financial mechanism, right, as it relates to buying up the bad debts, right, and try to have the bank system fixed, right? Now, some people need to understand when you're talking about FinSoc, what really happened, right? Who caused FinSoc? What was the source? What was the reason why the 1995 financial meltdown occurred? The primary reason, let us tell everyone who is talking about FinSoc. The primary reason as to why the 1995 financial meltdown occurred was as a result of the failure, right, of certain banking institutions as it relates to Paul Cheng Young, right, Merchant Bank, and all those banks, right? You will heard about Dan Crawford. You will heard about Edward Philip George Siaga. Now, the primary reason for that, right, was to the fact that these banks were giving unsecured loans that caused a collapse in the system. These persons who were, you understand, who found guilty of the situation, they associated, right, with the Jamaica Labour Party. Let me repeat that. Those persons who causes the financial meltdown, right, were associated with the Jamaica Labour Party. Now we talk, who were the persons associated with the Jamaica Labour Party? Paul Chenya, right? Hugh Croskery, Dan Crawford, and Edward Philip George Siaga. That is the source and the engine that caused the financial meltdown. But I'm going to leave that because we are going to address that on the Titans, right? Bringing some more research and what Omar Davis had done, right? If people understand as it relates to certain financial crisis, right? It happened to the United States, and the methodology that Omar Davis used, right? It was done in the United States. It was also done in UK. So there is nothing, let me for people who talking about what Omar Davis done as it relates to, you know, creating FinSac, right, buying up the bad debts, and some people said they did not get the opportunity to do this and to do that, right? The mechanism that was used. And again, right, don't believe that it is Omar Davis just get up overnight and make decision. It doesn't work like that. During what happened as it relates to what, right, Paul Cheng Young and his Cumberland, including Dan Crawford and Edward Philip George Siaga, has done, right? There were discussions in terms of what Omar Davis had done to fix the problem as it relates to checking with financial advisors, right? And try to get the best opinion at the time, you understand, to deal with the situation where you have persons who are acquainted with the JLP had done. And just like SSL that we are going to dig tonight, we have seen now the guilty culprits resurface. So any persons who are talking about things that can want to try to mix up the People's National Party to say, all right, they need to hold a portion of the blame, right? You need to go and research and do your study. Proper research, right? Before you speak on FinSac. So having said that, let us move into our program. As I said.
But before you move on there, Brother Byron, you know, I'm glad you mentioned that. And
yes,
before, FinSac is just an acronym for the Financial Sector Adjustment Company.
Exactly.
And it was, and to understand the meltdown of the banking sector in the 1990s, it did not start 1990. It did not start 1989. It started from the previous administration, where the banking sector was not living up to doing things within the parameters of their banking charter.
Exactly.
And so it created, over time, it created a debacle that culminated in the 1990s. And then the government now had to come in and deal with the crisis of liquidity and solvency of these same banks. Exactly. And to sell them off to people so they could shore up the economy, that the economy did not collapse altogether, not only creating a crisis in Jamaica, but a crisis in the Caribbean and the wider world. So that is, in a nutshell, what it is. It's not anything, nobody wasn't trying to steal any money. You had some some bankers who were not doing they were policing themselves, first of all. And then when it was found out that them policing themselves wasn't the best thing, then the government had to step in and say, we need to rectify the situation. And if we're not, we had SSL, which is basically the same thing that happened in the 1990s. And if we are not careful, we might have another Berita on our hands, which is not doing things within the confines of its own banking charter, right? I'm using those words just to make it as simple as I possibly can. And so that is the issue.
As it's spoken about Berita, right? Berita is traveling down the very same line of what occurred in FinSac in 1995. Because, and who got loans? Who got unsecured loan? The Prime Minister Andrew Holness, right, got 50 million unsecured loan from Berita. The very same thing that happened to FinSA, right? And of course,
Edward Siaga got unsecured loan from Central National Bank. That is the problem.
So that is the problem. So when people talking about, and people are talking about Omar Davis, people go and commit suicide, and Omar Davis, right? All sort of foolishness and crap and bullshit. That's why.
So stick up in there, Brian. You made a very good point about people. Yeah, a lot of people lost their homes and businesses and life savings. But it's not because of FinSA. It's because of what the banks were doing.
Exactly.
And the banks found themselves in that situation. So it was the government now who had to come in and try and save as much as possible.
Exactly.
So it wasn't a deliberate a deliberate attack on the part of the government to say, which government would want to see their banking sector go belly up? None. And people talk about the Bank of Jamaica was dry. Who you think ran the Bank of Jamaica dry? Edward Siaga.
Edward Siaga. And
they call him a financial genius. So we need to understand where all this is coming from. It didn't start overnight. And where blame is to be laid, we lay blame. We're smart enough to be able to make this, to call a spade, exactly. And say what it a thing, call a thing without, being partisan, because this is not partisan. This affects the Jamaican people.
Exactly.
All right. My brother.
Brother Rattigan. All right, we give you the stage to greet your people. As I said, my people is always your people. Hey, Brother Rattigan.
Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Loud and clear. Good evening. Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. Somewhere in the world, it's morning, afternoon, and night. So, yeah, blessings, everybody. Good to be here. Sorry I'm a little bit late, but I explained to my brother already that I'd be a few minutes late. So, my sincere apologies to those of you in the chat and those watching because you didn't get the explanation. But my brother, he got it. So, sis, how you doing? Two system. I'm Maria. How you doing?
All right.
Good before you. So
I am good, one brother.
You move up in a life, Mr. Rattigan, Mr. Castle behind you.
No.
All right.
No.
Anne-Marie, thanks for pointing that out, because I'm so accustomed to seeing the barrel behind him. I assume the barrel is behind him.
Right.
But what our son Castle now? I'm proud of you.
No, you know, after our Sunday night, I forget to switch. I mean, just come on a while ago. I'm going to go and look Mr. Rod to the castle there. So I Kevin way there. And then try to switch it. I'm just say, "Chow, waste of time. This me just get Kevin to switch it the weekend, So yeah, so for now, just consider me semi-royalty. I'm not dressed like royalty, but you see my place to it.
All right.
Yeah.
No, okay. All right. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, all subscribers, TV land. Now we are going to discuss a little issue before we even get into our program, because our program tonight is going to be very interesting, as I said. Right. We are going to get into a situation as it relates to the church urged government to reconsider deferral of unexplained wealth. Right? Let me just get into that. Well, hold on. Here's the. Let me just get into a situation here.
21 to start with.
Okay. All right. Not starting with that. Okay, let us start with PSOJ seeks to clarify over emancipation and independence. We are going to read, and then, of course, Ratty, we're going to take bits and pieces, and Maria, we're going to take bits and pieces from that. All right, let us bring up the Jamaica Observer as it relates to this little burning issue here, right? Okay, let us read here. PSOJ seeks to clarify position on Emancipation and Independence Day holidays. Okay, let us hear them. The private sector organization of Jamaica has sought to clarify its position on the Emancipation Day and Independence Day public holidays following media reports, which the organization says misrepresented its stance. So let us hear your stance. We categorically refute claims suggesting that the PSAJ has proposed merging these two significant holidays into a single day. Such assertions are entirely false and do not reflect our actual proposal of our intentions, the PSAJ said in a release Thursday. The private sector lobby group said in a recent submission to the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, it acknowledged the profound historical importance of both Emancipation Day on August 1st and Independence Day on August 6th. These dates separated by a mere 5 days encapsulate Jamaica's journey from the abolition of slavery to the achievement of self-governance. We recognize that these public holidays play a crucial role in celebrating our national identity, preserving our cultural heritage, and providing well-deserved rest for our workforce, which that is important. Well-deserved rest and cultural heritage. Those are two important lines. The PSAJ said. However, private sector group noted that as an organization committed to Jamaica socio-economic development, it's all about profit here, right? And we are not going to swap it for profit. It must also consider the challenges faced by local businesses. What sort of challenges that faced by local businesses? Current arrangement of having two major holidays in such close proximity, it's said, often result in extended period of reduced productivity. See where I'm going? As many workers and businesses tend to bridge the gap between these days with additional time off. We are not going to even go any further, right? Let us take away that, right? Because I think as it relates to even that gesture, right, that is so out of order, right, and so out of place. Let us get into what the Chief Justice, Justice Sykes, respond to the PSOJ, right? And then, of course, we are going to break down that a bit, right? This is so out of place by the PSOJ. Totally out of place, right? Because they don't care about our interests, right? And, you know, what is so important to us as what, you know, left behind by our ancestors, right? They want to step on it for profit, right? Because the two holidays are hurting their profit. Okay. Trelawney, in an apparent response to the private sector organization of Jamaica, proposal for the creation of a single extended weekend holiday period for emancipation and independence celebration, Chief Justice Brian Sykes underscored that the celebration of freedom is priceless. Let them know that Justice Sykes, right? PSOJ is totally out of order and out of them place. I would want to think that there are some things in our nation's history that really cannot carry a price tag, right? Let us repeat that, right? I would want to think that there are some things in our nation's history that really, right, cannot carry a price tag. And freedom and celebration of freedom is one of them, Sykes said. In presenting its case for a protracted weekend, the PSAJ argued that having two major holidays in such close proximity often result in extended period of reduced productivity. And so what? And so what? As many workers and businesses tend to bridge the gap between these dates with additional time off. Yes, because those 2 days is going to reduce your profitability, right? And so then, of course, it is profit, right, over people. Take it away. Let us get to the our panel, right? Then and there, let us hear what our panel, the views of our panelists. Rattigan. Yes, Brother Rattigan. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Since Maria come back, step down a bit, Rattigan.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks.
Ladies, you know, it's always ladies before gentlemen. You know, we do our thing.
Our sister before brother. That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I prefer sister before brother.
Yes. You have heard what I have just read there, right? And PSOJ, right? Concern about the closeness of, you know, both public holidays come within the same week, and so that seems to be encroaching on their profitability. What say you where that is concerned?
Okay, let me follow up that with something that the Honorable P.J. Patterson, former Prime Minister, said.
Yes.
And it is in relation to the same argument because it has come up before, and you know, much to the dismay of many well-thinking Jamaicans. So he said, I've read with great consternation and utter dismay that the government is giving serious consideration to the abolition of August 1st as Emancipation Day and August 6th as our Independence Day. It would be a retrograde step and a severe violation of our ancestry. One marks a commemoration and the other a celebration. It would be a betrayal of all our efforts to promote our own identity as a people. Let me at the outset make it clear that mine is not a partisan political position nor an expression of doubt on the accuracy of the Anderson poll, which was commissioned by the Ministry of Culture back then. That was about 2020. And he goes on to say, to determine where we are going, we must know from whence we came. Slavery is the most heinous crime against humanity. It was not Queen Victoria who set us free. It is the rebellion of our foreparents and their resolute struggle, which when combined with the drop in economic terms of forced labor, served to hasten the abolition of slavery. The Abolition Act earned £20 million for the slave owners and compelled the slaves to repay them an additional sum of calculated at the time £27 million by their forced apprenticeship for 4 more years. Our inheritance was poverty, disease, ignorance, and homelessness. So for their emancipation, freedom on August 1, 1838, our ancestors paid for their freedom with blood, and taxpayers of succeeding generations paid for a debt which was so huge that payment of the loan amounting to billions in today's current value was only completed in 2015.
Okay.
Those are facts. So without emancipation, you cannot have independence. Yes. Emancipation, just the word by itself carries so much weight. It is not something to be toyed with. And as he said here, and as history has shown, even after emancipation, there was an apprenticeship. So yes, the free slaves were now working.
Yes.
So it's not, to the person whose emancipation means nothing to, they can say these things frivolously off the cuff and, think about their productivity and not the cultural significance of emancipation and not the cultural significance of independence. So I have a problem with what Metro said. Just the idea that somebody would come up with it is frightening, let alone come out of their mouths and wanting it to be a policy position. I don't care whether if emancipation, whatever day emancipation falls on, that's the day it must be celebrated. Period. That's the day, but people must be honored. The work of the ancestors. That's the day it must be, that's the reverence of that day must not be tampered with.
Yes.
That is like saying to Americans, abolish 4th of July.
Exactly.
That's like saying to the Canadians, yeah, get rid of your independence, get rid of, all those things. The significance of it must never be underestimated. It mustn't be diminished. It must not be in any way, shape, or form watered down to suit the intentions or the purposes of the 1% for the sake of their bottom line. They already paid with their blood. Black people cannot pay anymore. I'm sorry.
Yes, I think it's a very disgraceful thought just for them to even think about it. Right? Goes to show you that they have no love for the people. John Scott said, Sir Byron, I conclude these guys don't love us. And they have the nerve to suggest because of productivity, they want to mess with our history and our identity. Well said, John Scott, which definitely that is true. Brother Rattigan, let me turn the table to you. What say you based on the discussion here?
Let me just say, I'm looking in the chat, right? And I think, and I didn't go all the way down, so forgive me, folks, if I left out some of your comments. But I looked at Marie's comment, I looked at Monica's comment, I looked at Patel's comment, I looked at Freedom's comment. I mean, those comments sum up everything that we're discussing here. I cannot escape, or what shouldn't escape us, is the symbolism. You're a strong, educated Black man advocating for the separation of these two holidays because they mean two different things to us, two significant and important things. And on the other side, you have another rich man.
Exactly.
You have a strong Black educated man on this side, and you have another man on that side.
Yes.
Folks, read between the lines.
Read between the lines. And
read between the lines.
As what Freedom said, put up what Freedom said. Because what Freedom says makes sense. In the PSOJ say, our history, we must remember which side of the fence many of their ancestors were on and which side of the fence our ancestors were on. Sounds like they want to roll back history. So true, Freedom. Right. And there you have it.
And so let me just add a few more points. First thing that came to mind, other than looking at Freedom's and the other folks, their comments, which, I mean, it's right on, the comments are right on point. First thing that came to mind is, why no? Why no? We've had these holidays for quite some time. Why no? And why them? Why them?
Yes.
I mean, it's so weird. If anybody should be asking for, a joining of the holidays, it should be people like us,
Exactly.
But somebody else whose foreparents didn't go through the struggle and the suffering and the degradation, they're coming and say, yeah, enough hour now, not just put the two of them together and just have one thing. Somebody, I don't remember who, made a good point in the chat. They said, look, if you're talking about the holidays being too close, how about Easter Sunday, Good Friday? How about Christmas and Boxing Day? I mean, we don't hear anything about that.
All right.
Because I guess they like those holidays, But
yes.
Here's the thing. I took some notes off of the things the articles that you read. They said that it's going to disrupt the economy regarding manufacturing, tourism, and agriculture. What manufacturing? Have they looked at the stats coming out of stats? What manufacturing they're talking about?
I don't know.
Manufacture? No.
I don't know.
When they talk about tourism, tourists going to come anyway and people will be working anyway. It will not be affected. Agriculture, don't forget St. Elizabeth, the bread basket of Jamaica, wipe out. Don't forget that. So these are all foolish reasons they're putting up there saying it's going to affect tourism, agriculture, and manufacturing. It's pure nonsense. It comes on and reduce productivity. I don't understand these people. It's unadulterated nonsense, and we know why they're doing it.
But hold on, Rattigan. Look who they're looking to as a model: Singapore and Japan. Or it is done in Singapore and in Japan, and where they have these long holidays with it,
Well,
and I'm like, the Singapore situation is different from the Jamaican experience.
Japan.
When them start talking about Singapore and Japan, my blood start boiling because the first thing I want to ask them, do we have the same corruption problem that they have right there?
No.
Make the comparison. Do we have the same problem?
No.
In Japan, when people commit corruption, the same people who commit corruption, them commit suicide. Them take for themselves. And in a Singapore, we say the corruption is there, but it's minuscule compared to Jamaica. So when them come and talk this nonsense about Japan and no, let's talk about the Jamaican experience. This is what we're faced with. And folks, it is pure, unadulterated foolishness they're talking about. We need to have both holidays. They should not be combined because they mean two different things. One of them is freedom from slavery. One of them is freedom from colonialism. Although we know we're not really free from colonialism, but
yes.
it's like a token thing, it's symbolic, but it was better than before, right? So let's keep them separate and let's celebrate them separately.
But also, Ratigan, remember now, let's not forget that it was not just recent memory that people who look like you, Ratigan, you, Mystic Amir, and myself could not work in a store downtown Kingston. You know who worked in those stores? Those high-colored people from uptown.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't go down Times Square and just walk the length of Times Square. Yes, it was Times Square, you call it down in downtown Kingston there, right? Times Store, Butter Shoe Store, all those stores, downtown Kingston, were who are in the person who were the shoe sellers, the clerks in those stores, did not look like you and myself. The bank tellers did not look like you and myself. It was not until the Michael Manley era of the 1970s that changed all of that. The hotel worker, a black person could not walk into a hotel in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about emancipation and celebrating emancipation, it comes from all the pain and the struggles and the blood, sweat, and tears of the slave years. And then you add to that apprenticeship, and then you further add to that how black people were treated in Jamaica. They weren't given the best part of the lands. They were sent into the hills. Born Jamaicans, black Jamaicans, were sent into the hills to farm land which was stolen. And it took a Michael Manley to come and say, no. We need to have the people have some sense of themselves. That is what changed all of that. So people who look like you and I will have a different perspective altogether and will be incensed when somebody dares to think that emancipation and independence should be lumped in and just celebrated as a holiday when it is more important and more involved than that. Don't insult our intelligence and don't mess with our days. And the thing is, their ancestral history is different from ours. Our ancestral experience is totally different. And we honor that by making sure we are standing on those shoulders of those who came before us, They did it so we didn't have to do it. So don't you dare think that we're not going to stand up and defend Emancipation Day.
Exactly.
We're a very forgiving people because in some countries, this nonsense would be the cause of riots. We're very forgiving people. We're very tolerant. And I hope they stop this nonsense. Now, the other thing I want to mention is that PSOJ has set itself up as the arbiter of what's good for Jamaica, right? Then come out and, how come they're so silent about education? How come they're so silent about housing? How come they're so silent about health? How come they're so silent about the Prime Minister's statutory declaration? By the way, another report was sent to Parliament to be tabled today. And this one I look serious to because it have the special report and it have this report and all of these ancillary reports. But how come they're not involved in that? That is where you start talking about development.
Ratigan, how come they're not involved in the Coke port find?
All right.
My case, yes.
But Ratty, as you just said, as it relates to the certain issues that the PSOJ need to get involved. We need to hear their voices as it relates to corruption, as it relates to poor health care, as it relates to a dilapidated education system, right? There's silence on that. And then you see, notice, right, that the PSOJ would never come out and say something like this under People's National Party administration. They have never done it before in terms of, what they mentioned here. And this is what again hit the Andrew Holness administration, because the PSOJ think that they have a free reign, right? And so then this administration, right? I mean, just allow the PSOJ to do whatever they need to do, and that is why one of the reasons why the PSOJ is not calling out the wrong of this government, even when the wrong is so blatant. The blatant corruption, PSOJ lag behind and nothing. And whenever Mark Golding, the opposition, do something, PSOJ rush out and speak on it. And so then you can see the actual biasness as it relates to the opposition and the incumbent government, right? Nothing that the PSOJ, all now the PSOJ, right, don't come out and speak as it really, and let me remind PSOJ what they need to speak on. If you look at the situation with Rural Reid, who has been charged and put before the court, right? And yet you have Rural Reid is now on the campaign trail doing all of that. And no one, PSOJ has not come out, right, and spoken anything, right, in relation to that, in terms of, I mean, look, you have to have somebody strong enough, or a system strong enough in identifying certain wrong. When these people need to take with themselves, but they are so emboldened, right? They want to rub it in the Jamaican people's face that we can be wrong and strong, right? It just seems like Rural Reid is saying, don't worry about me, man. Everything okay. You understand? I am not worrying about my court issue because this government will take care of me. And so then Rural Reid will now say on the campaign trail, you understand, that this government is the best government to him, because under this government, he will, which appears to him, will be getting away with his corruption. So then this is what we need to call out. Now,
but before you move on, Byron, earlier before I came and I had a conversation with a young doctor in Jamaica, and I asked him to give me a sense of, the pulse of the politics in Jamaica, how the people are responding, how they really feel. And he said, the people really are upset. And he talk about infrastructure, and we talk about, but the roads are falling apart because the money is not being given to the people who have the skill set and the tools to do it. And he also talked about being a medical doctor, and he said the health system is crap. It's crap. Exactly. But he cannot say anything. He cannot come out and say anything because he's medical. They are muzzled. They cannot speak out. They cannot strike. None of that. So they just have to work in the conditions that they're working. And he said that is one of the reasons that these professionals choose to leave. And he also brought up Beryllium Regional. And, so I said to him, what about people, striking and stuff? Are they afraid to strike? He said that, people are really afraid, but it's the 9-day talk. So they talk about it for a few days and they forget about it. But he said, what is sticking right now is the Prime Minister's 28 bank accounts, his statutory declarations not certified, and people, saying, all these millions of dollars going unaccounted for, and when they look, they don't have schools, when they look, the hospitals are broken, the roads are broken. And said that is really, that's what people are saying. And he says he doesn't see how the Prime Minister is going to survive this, because this is really hitting people where it hurts the most, because they cannot go to the bank. Because I even said to him, just for the heck of it, just go to the NCB tomorrow and open a bank account without any money. So they'll say you're crazy. And he said that's what people are saying. And he is also saying that even the ghetto youths, it's not a term I like, but young people that live in garrison communities and urban communities, they are saying that they make more money scamming because they look at the government that is so corrupt, and nobody is holding them accountable. So they don't want them to come out and say anything to them about them being scammers, because they're the biggest scammers. So you see the vicious cycle that is happening right there.
Yes. All right. Thank you for that input, Sister Maria. We are going to travel in our through our journey tonight. Of course, we can see that this government is panicking. I am just going to visit over by Fat Mama. Well, I mean, we call him Big Mama. Go and take a walk over Big Mama for a while and hear what Big Mama concerned with. Right. So let us visit Big Mama, right? Because I tell you something, that the Jamaica Labour Party administration, right, is in a dire strait. So let us visit over Big Mama and hear what Big Mama have to say as it relates to the poll, right? Without any delay, right? Let us put up what is going on over Big Mama there. All right, people, let us.
What's interesting for me is St. Anne. At this hour, right now, as we speak, the Prime Minister is in St. Anne. A by-election happens in Northeast St. Anne on Monday. Prime Minister is having a spot meeting, a rally in St. Anne. And based on this, Blue Dot has found, listeners, that the People's National Party is ahead in St. Anne.
That is correct, by a margin of 10%. So 36% of residents of the parish of St. Anne indicated that they would vote for the PNP candidate in their constituencies versus only 26% who would cast their vote for the JLP candidate.
Hold on, let me just tell the people them say, some people concerned because them say behind me, them say some people call it a prison, the Ransford. No, it's not a prison. Ransford is a castle. And what happened, I was in my royal gear on Sunday, and I was supposed to take it down. But my main man Kevin is busy because, as you know, there's a storm, a hurricane hitting Florida or approaching Florida. Yeah. So he had some things he had to do with his family, so I couldn't find him. So that's why it's there. But believe me, come Saturday, the prison or castle won't be there. We'll be back. We'll be back to Waterhouse.
Well, like you said, say it again, right again. Castle.
This is my castle.
All right.
As opposed to a prison.
All right. So remember, as it relates to the thumbnail, right? Conspiracy to defraud. We are getting close into the meat of the matter. Let us go to nationwide radio. Churches urge government to reconsider deferral of explain wealth. What a bangarang. We are getting closer to the Nancy Webb. Tonight is going to be very interesting, people. Very interesting. Right? Yes. Audio? Yes, let us play the audio here.
The stakeholders that comprise the CMOC have expressed concerns with the, we could say, the prioritization of the unexplained wealth orders as part of the toolkit for dealing with fight against corruption alongside the other mechanisms that have been put in place to deal with this issue. We're concerned because we think it is an essential part of this toolkit because it will help to close an important gap that presently exists in the fight against corruption. The deprioritization of the unexplained wealth orders alongside the stated intention through, I believe, is action in the courts to address some elements of the Integrity Commission Act together create a significant amount of concern among the stakeholders.
Okay. Now, let me allow Ratty to jump on this one. Ratty.
Yes, sir.
The
Yes, sir.
Prime Minister, we want to get into the Prime Minister mindset, right? But let me set the table before I ask the question. The Prime Minister, as it relates to the Integrity Commission report, right? And based on what we have seen in the report, go against the Prime Minister, right? And what seems to be hinging on illicit enrichment. As a result of that, the Prime Minister, in his response, right, want to take it to the court and totally uproot the unexplained wealth mechanism that could hold parliamentarians accountable. I am asking you, Ratty, as it relates to any moral person with that moral onset, that moral vision, to know that this is an important mechanism to keep, parliamentarians in check as it relates to if a parliamentarian has unexplained wealth, then that process, there ought to be consequence. Why is it that the Prime Minister would want to make a move like this, Rattigan, right, to scrap, I think it is section 145, if my memory serves me right, that speak to unexplained wealth? Why would the Prime Minister want to make a move like this? If the Prime Minister, any at all, was innocent, we are going to the Prime Minister mental cranium here.
The illicit enrichment provision that we speak about, it's not found in the Integrity Commission Act. It's found in the Corruption Prevention Act. It's
Corruption Prevention Act.
Yeah, 14 subsection 5. And it's good law. Now, here's a problem. The Prime Minister has been trumpeting his administration's efforts to stem the tide of corruption, to reduce it. And he said it in so many ways on so many platforms using so many beautiful words. And here it is now that he's out there, well, not lobbying, he's petitioning the court to remove section 14.5. So here's the thing, he's asking for the court to repeal, but he's not asking for a replacement. So when you repeal, what is there? What else is there? What is going to be there to hold corrupt politicians accountable for illicit enrichment? Nothing, zero. So now it's a free-for-all. You can take what you want and you don't have to worry about somebody coming and say, well, you only make 30 million, but you live in a 200 million house and we can't say how you account for that. That provision, once it's gone, we can just kiss the idea that we're strangling corruption in Jamaica. We can kiss that position goodbye. And here's what we can kiss goodbye. We can kiss goodbye the fact that we can say, well, we're corrupt, but we're not that corrupt. We can kiss that goodbye, because I'm telling you, we're going to shoot right straight to the top of the heap if we remove that provision. That's the only provision you have in there that you can hold politicians accountable for unexplained wealth. The other one, proceeds of illicit or whatever they call that, that's primarily for drug dealers and scammers and whatever. This is the one for politicians. And if you remove this, I'm telling you, my brother and my sisters, well, brothers and sisters, all of us out there as well, it will be a very dark day for Jamaica as far as global perception of Jamaica is concerned. And I can tell you that there will be consequences. And I cannot understand for the life of me why the Prime Minister would do this, because whoever is advising him, they're stupid people. They're nincompoops. Yes. They're non-compos mentis. They're not thinking. You want a story like this to die the natural death in Jamaica, as these stories do. Why the hell would you go to court and then put it on the calendar, and now it's going to sit there for the entire world to see what you're doing? You should just let this thing just die a slow, painful, normal death, right? Or painless, normal death. That's what you should do. But now you put it on front page. Now I can tell you right now, all of the first world countries, second world, everybody is looking at this and say, what kind of thing is this? The Prime Minister is asking for them to remove the one provision that he can hold politicians accountable. They say we're going to remove it. Well, I tell you what, I don't practice law in Jamaica, but I certainly hope that the judges just throw this out, just get rid of this. I've looked at some of the things he's asking the court to do, and I'll be very honest with you. I haven't seen one that we could say, okay, the court would probably grant this. I just can't find it.
None.
It's all nonsense. Pure nonsense. So, yeah, Marie, you're right. Whoever is advising him, whoever advising him wants to get rid of him. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because I don't know why he would do this. Why? It's people go back and read his petition to the court. But before you do that, read the Integrity Commission's report that was tabled. Go to the summary. You don't have to read the details. Just go to the summary, and then you go to his petition, and you'll see that what he's done is just pure unadulterated nonsense. And again, the PSOJ, silent. Silent. You know what they're gonna say now, though? They're gonna say it's sub judice, so they can't talk about it because it's before the court. That's BS. The participants can't talk about it. Well, anybody can, any commentator can make a comment about it. Yeah.
Right. It's public knowledge.
Yeah.
But for me to internalize this, Ratty, I would say, in terms of my perception, that the Prime Minister is doubling down in his corruption. That's my subjective opinion. I'm just saying that. Sister Maria, come in and take a bite at this. What say you as it relates to what the Prime Minister wanting the court to do?
His actions is one of that dictators take, where they want the courts to work on their behalf and do things for them. You know, adjudicate and do what they want to do. So and I hope that the courts remain independent and do what they're supposed to do on behalf of the Jamaican people, because I don't see for the life of me why the Prime Minister, who made such a profound speech in Parliament about the IC and how to be independent of Parliament and all of that, and then he's now saying that he's basically gutting the IC, rendering them toothless. Yes. And saying, hold other people accountable, but not me. What kind of example is he setting? What kind of messages is he sending to young people? And how does he think he looks on the international stage? Well, he was I don't know, has he spoken to UN as yet? I think so. I'm not sure. I don't know because I don't follow him really. So I don't know if he has spoken.
Yeah, it's finished.
So, how does he look on the international? He's basically becoming an international person. Because his behavior leaves much, much to be desired. It is shameful, and I would have expected better of him. And the people advising him.
Oops, sorry, internet's just.
Okay. Since Sister Maria.
Let me just jump in and while
okay,
wait
yes,
for
take over.
One of the things he talked about was that his privacy was violated. And you said to yourself, hold on one second. You said, well, wait a minute. The Integrity Commission conducted an investigation and said, we can't talk about it. We have to give it to Parliament. And let Parliament decide to table it, and then we can talk about it. Who tabled it? Who made it public? It was Leroy Clark, the Deputy Speaker. He tabled it, and once you table it, it's public. Exactly. It wasn't the Integrity Commission, right? Remember the threat that they're going to send it to Oversight Committee and they're going to send it.
My Wi-Fi seems to be weak. I don't know what's going on. Hold on.
Right. So it wasn't the Integrity Commission. I've been trying to get the Integrity Commission to come on my program because I wrote to them and I said, listen, guys, You say you couldn't speak before under 53, 52-3 or 53-2, one of them. No, 53, 52-3. You say you can't speak, right? But until it's stable. But now it's stable, and you didn't table it, Parliament tabled it, the Speaker did, so, or the Deputy Speaker. So now you can talk, and they're still mum, they're still silent. The other thing he said was that they overstepped their boundary. And I'm saying, well, wait a minute, hold on 1 second. That was within their remit to conduct an investigation of your statutory declaration. You yourself proposed this, you established this thing, and then now because now they're applying it to you now, and you're feeling the pinch. You said no. When they applied it when they applied it to the former speaker, Marissa Dalrymple Philibert, how come he didn't say anything about that? When they did it to Mr. Vaz, right? When they applied the Integrity Commission Act to him for failure to file, and then they give him the $250. How come he didn't say anything about that? How about Mr. Leslie Campbell, who didn't file, the former junior minister in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade? How come he didn't rescue them? He's rescuing himself. You see how selfish this man is? You see how selfish this man is? And look, he has a majority, you know. So what he could have done is, even if it didn't pass in the Senate, he could have said, you know what, I don't like this law. I'm gonna, what he should have done is said, I'm gonna replace, and I'm gonna repeal, and I'm gonna replace, and come up with something else. But he didn't. He just now he wants to just repeal the thing. And then the question is, okay, so what's gonna happen after? What's gonna happen after? It's gonna be a free-for-all. The politicians are now going to steal like it's going out of style, because there's no law that they can that as far as illicit enrichment is concerned.
Exactly.
So, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Sorry, before you go, Mr. Rattigan, just read Devon Cooper's comment. It's something is asking you for.
Where is it?
7:42 p.m. Devon Cooper. I'm not sure.
9:42?
9:42 your time. Yeah.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Devon, what is the name of the bank of the immigration application? I want to look at. Oh, what is the name of the immigration? All right, Devon. I don't want to give the number right. So here's where the Devon. Here's where you put your number in the chat then, and I will reach out to you, please. Just put in the number. Put your sister number, your daughter number, your business number. Put a number where you're not really having to care about privacy like the Prime Minister. So well, I know. Oh, some unique race. I shouldn't get the Prime Minister any nuggets. Well, unique race. Here's what happened. Him don't make him move already, and him can't take it back. Him don't make him move already. So there's nothing he can do right now. Him go out and put out this what I forgot how many pages. What, 72 pages or something? I forgot the affidavit he did. Believe me, you know what? He's gonna sorry he wrote that affidavit. He's going to be very sorry.
I think so too.
He's going to be very sorry, because I tell you what, when and be patient with me, folks, because we're working on a lot of things right now. But when the Integrity Commission's report, when it goes to certain people along with his affidavit, people are gonna see him for who he truly is. And when I say people, I'm talking about people outside of Jamaica, because we are convinced that there's not much that people in Jamaica can do to get him to do a course correction. There's not much, but there are people outside of Jamaica, there are organizations outside of Jamaica that can get him to do an about face. In fact, there are people out there who can actually have him abdicate his position, right? Give up his position. Now we see, and that's been done in Jamaica several times. So we know it's possible, but people in Jamaica, believe me, I pray for and I weep for, because I know what's going on, but I don't really can't talk the way we talk, and I can't talk up the things, and I can't protest because they're not going to do enough permit. And if you go up on the road, the police and without mashing it down, and next thing you know, they end up in a prison, and if you had ball for ISAT, and only one ISAT. So, we might have to call for some other people as well. But we understand, and we are doing our level best to help help all of you there, because by helping you, we're also helping ourselves, because we're one. We understand that, we appreciate it, and we accept it. We are one, and anything we can do from across the ocean, we are going to do it to help you guys. Legally though, let me make that clear. Legal stuff we're dealing with. We're not dealing with anything illegal or illicit. We're not part of any illicit group.
All right.
Legal stuff.
All right. Thank you for that, Rati. While we travel. Now the next document is interesting. And of course, Rati and I will peruse on that. Again, let us bring up the other document, honey. Integrity Commission submit report. Hey, Pongarangin. Integrity Commission submit a letter, not the report. Submit a letter.
They submit the report, but they just put the letter up for release.
Okay. Okay, so they submit both the report and the letter to advise that yes, they submitted the report. So this is another bangarang that is going to all right. Let us bring up this 200. Okay, share.
Yeah.
All right. Now let us read into this, Rati. For immediate release, Integrity Commission submits investigation report and ruling to Parliament for tabling October 8, 2024. In keeping with its commitment previously made to the public, the Integrity Commission wishes to advise that it has today submitted to Parliament for tabling a report of investigation and associated indicative ruling and a full ruling of its Director of Corruption Prosecution. Well, it's very interestingly, we want to see how the corruption prosecutor rule in that regards, but we are yet to bite into that. The foregoing documentation was formally received and signed for at the Parliament at 3:07 p.m. today. Hard copies of investigation report were submitted in separate envelopes on the cover of identical letters addressed to the following officials and 3 persons: the Most Honorable Juliet Oles, MP Speaker of the House of Representatives, Senator the Honorable Tom Tavares Finson, right, President of the Senate, and Miss Colleen Lowe, Clerk to the House of Parliament. The associated indicative ruling, which is embodied in a second and separate letter, together with the full ruling of the Director of Corruption Prosecution, were also similarly submitted. A USB flash drive. So they are just talking about the mediums, how they send it. So we don't have to read that. Let us get to our panel. Is Daisy back on the panel as yet? Okay, no. All right. So, Rati, let's say interesting days ahead. No. Well, and that will be what? Coming out on, supposed to be coming out on Tuesday, possibly Tuesday.
Tuesday coming, next Tuesday.
Well, I tell you something. I will be here next week, Tuesday. So people, remember, my wife and I will be here, right? Because we're off on that day. So both of us, we are going to be here, right? And of course, we'll be, hearing that live while it happens, right? So Rati.
Yes, sir.
Give us some comments on that now.
Yeah, it's a similar report to the one they sent out regarding the Prime Minister, with indicative ruling,
yes,
with the full commission report, and with the report from the corruption prosecutor. Now, it's gonna be interesting to see this. My focus now is gonna be on the corruption prosecutor.
Exactly.
Because I'm gonna see, if her report is there, it could only mean one thing: that the Integrity Commission recommended prosecution.
Yes.
Right? That's the only time you'd see her report there. That they recommended prosecution, and then she would now have to, come up with her position as to whether the matter should be prosecuted or shouldn't be prosecuted. Either way, she's going to make a statement. She has to put a report and she has to do an analysis. And as we know, her analysis the last time was very, very faulty. And the one last year, I consider it to be faulty as well. So we're going to see if she is going to act in a consistent fashion where she apply faulty reasoning and Lego people. We have to see if that is the case. But Jamaicans, I don't know how much more of this one I can take. I know a lot of you be thinking about, how you going to get your children to school, how you going to get to work, how you going to pay your bills, how you going to feed, clothe, shelter them. I know that's concerning to you, and this is like secondary or tertiary. This is somewhere out there. But just keep in mind that this affects you. And I was having a discussion, Baron and Anne-Marie, with some folks, and they were saying, we don't know if the ordinary Jamaican understands the import of these reports, how these things impact their lives. The fact that they're investigating corruption and how the corruption, how does it translate to them? And they're saying we have to find a way that we can explain to them that when the prime minister can't explain certain things, where the monies come from, and if there's suspicion that there is suspicion, illicit enrichment, where did that money come from? And it would be quite revealing if it turned out that the money came from a source that should have been directed to the people, right? Like we know a lot of money came in during COVID time, and we still haven't gotten an accurate accounting of how that money was disbursed. And we also know that the Prime Minister formed some of the companies, 3 companies. He formed Imperium, Estate Bridge, and Positive Jamaica Foundation. I think he formed them in 2020. Right? That was during COVID period. And the other one, which he didn't form, but he has an association with, Green Emerald. That was formed in 2020. One was formed in June, one was formed in July, one was formed in October, one was formed in November. All in 2020. And that money was flowing in. Yeah. So we don't know if some of those funds, the monies that we're seeing, circulating, we don't know if some of those funds came from there. In fact, we don't know where the funds come from at this point, and we're trying to figure it out. But people, I'm trying to tell you that corruption affects all of us. You might think, some people might say, big people think that, no, it's your thing. It's your thing. It's a small man thing. It's a middle class thing. It's everybody's same thing. And so I'm waiting with bated breath for this report to be tabled, because we want to know who is next. And again, I am imploring, beseeching, begging the Integrity Commission to go to the DPP, the acting DPP, and ask her for an opinion concerning the corruption prosecutor's decision, the one last year. They might just say, well, they're not even going to look at that. But certainly the one with the Prime Minister, where the corruption prosecutor refused to prosecute him for the 4 bank accounts that he didn't tell them about, that they found out about, the 4 Nova Scotia bank accounts. We need to, if you're going to apply the law, please apply it. And you should need me, this so far physically and otherwise, from what you are doing, that me have to tell you that there's a provision within the Integrity Commission Act that allows for the DPP, or the acting DPP in this case, to be involved in the matter. You shouldn't need me to tell you that. And I'm going to keep pointing it out. I'm actually going to be looking for it while we're talking here, Byron, because it's just a shame that, and to me, a lot of people are not aware, because if they were aware, they would call on them and say, listen, why is it that why the Integrity Commission is not using the powers it has within the Integrity Commission Act? So, but let me just take a little break and just look for it, and then I'll just throw it up on the board there.
Okay. While you're taking the break, let me just take this caller. Yes, caller, Mystic Sensation, you're on here. Yes. This sound like brother Urel, man. Urel, turn off the device in your background.
Yeah. Sorry about it.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, man. So we want to find out. I've had anybody check which foreign company will Prime Minister work with, why him or her US dollars?
Well, I haven't done any checking on that, so I'm going.
But that's another big question we ask now. Which foreign government will work with, why him or her US dollars? That he can have US account. So,
Well,
so the Prime Minister will black market where buy US dollar on the street.
Well, I see where you're going with that, rural. What and you know, I definitely see where you're going with that.
Yeah, but you can't go the other way, because if you're not working for it, you're not working with the US government, and you're not doing business where you transact. Your company are doing the business abroad. Where you work US dollars.
To be getting earning in US dollars.
So all you have, all company have US account. All that work out.
Very good question.
To be asked.
Something that need to something that need to peruse. That definitely needs some probity. But let us take it to Ratty and see if Ratty could come up to.
All right. Here's what happened. Right.
All right.
Here's what happened with the US account.
Yes.
At this point, I can't prove it, but in my gut, I just believe that there is a foreign account, there's a US account, and here is why. Here's why. The Consul General in New York, her name is Alcian Roach Wilson. What was she before she became the Consul General? She was an executive at Bear Stearns, which is a financial house. I believe at one point, she was involved with a hedge fund. I know it's been written extensively about her involvement on Wall Street with financial matters. She's a financial whiz. Now, before she took the job, and she's been living in New York for decades. Now, before she took the job as Consul General in New York, she was having regular conversations with the Prime Minister. Hear me out, people. Hear me out. And I challenge her, the Prime Minister, to tell me that I'm wrong. Before she took this position, she was having regular conversations with the Prime Minister. This is when she was a money manager, right? So the question then is, why would she be having conversations with the Prime Minister on a regular basis? Why? They didn't know each other from, they didn't grow up, they didn't go to the same school or whatever. She met him over the years because of her involvement with conducting financial matters, I believe on behalf of the country of Jamaica through various administrations. But all of a sudden they became very, very good friends. Keep in mind, like I'm saying, she was a financial manager. She was not the Consul General. And so I'm curious as to why is it that she was having these conversations with him. I'm trying to close the loop. I think you guys know where I'm going with this, but I'm not there yet. I'm trying to close the loop, right? And I'm asking the Integrity Commission. I'm asking FID. Go through Egmont, the Egmont Group. The organization composed of financial investigators and analysts. Go through that group and have them question the CG. Have them question her about her relationship with the Prime Minister. Have them ask her if she's ever managed any money for him in any shape, form whatsoever, whether it's investment, whether it's banking, deposits, withdraw, any money matters whatsoever, any under the sun. Has she ever been involved with any account for him or for his relatives or for anyone in the government? And it will be interesting that to find out whether or not she's still doing it, because her tax return should show whether or not she's being remunerated for it. That would be interesting for the US government to take a look at, to say, okay, let's look at the transactions. If she's ever worked on any, look at the transactions and see when those transactions took place and see whether or not there was a payment for conducting, whether it's a percentage or a flat fee or whatever. I would be interested to interview her, to ask her these questions, and therefore I am sure the Integrity Commission must feel the same way. I'm sure FID must feel the same way, because Baron, I'm telling you, if they're interested in turning over every stone to see what's there, they must interview this lady. They must. No investigation is complete, none whatsoever, of the Prime Minister for illicit enrichment and his family members and the members of Parliament. None of those investigations fully complete until they interview this lady. They have to interview her. My gut tells me that there's something there. I can't prove it, I don't know it, but I just feel it. And they need to ask her the questions. And she can't lie. When they go to her in the Egmont group, when they go to her, she can't lie. And then also, she's gonna have, she gave up, I believe she gave up her US citizenship to accept this job. But she's still a US taxpayer. There is a business over in New Jersey that I'm told is associated with her and her husband. And someone called me last week and said that she had made statements to the effect that she was managing the Prime Minister's money. I don't know if it's true. That's what somebody said to me last week. But I'm not going to buy into that. I want the Egmont group to ask her the direct questions, and let's see what her answers are. And then also, I want them to start pull some records. I want them to start saying, okay, we're going to pull some of the records that you worked on. And you're right, Monica, phone records as well. She have to give up all of the phone numbers, and they have to run through the phone, and they'll see whether or not she was talking to him. Because the reason I'm saying this, if I were the Prime Minister, and I know that this lady with this talent is out there, and she's affiliated with doing business with the government of Jamaica, and I develop a friendship with her, I would use her to manage money and set up offshore accounts. I would. I'm not saying the Prime Minister did. I don't know if he did. Yeah. But if I were in his position, I would do that. So, and then remember, they asked him about overseas accounts, and they asked him about local accounts. We didn't see anything with an overseas account, because I think the Citibank account that we saw there, I think that was the Citibank in Jamaica. I don't know. Oh, another thing too is this. Citibank is an American corporation. It's an American institution, banking institution. So whatever transactions he conducted with Citibank, it touched the American banking system. The US government has jurisdiction over that. They can go back and say, where did this money come from?
Yes.
So that's what I'm telling you. This investigation is nowhere near completed. Nowhere. If you people believe me, if you read that report with a critical eye and an analytical mind, you're gonna come to the conclusion that there are lots of loose ends in there. There are lots of leads to be pursued. Lots of leads. And it's going to take professionals to do this job. You can't use no amateurs on this job. You have to have people who know exactly what they're doing. You know, they have a familiarity with general investigations, but and also with financial investigations. And I'm telling you, when all is said, and the Prime Minister, if he's watching this program right now, or people gonna watch it,
Yes.
them uneasy.
Yes.
They're uneasy. They must be uneasy because they know that the half has not been told yet. The half has not been told.
So Ratty, what is important here, right, as it relates to, you know, the report in an holistic sense, and just to summarize it in context, Ratty, what we are looking on is, you know, not having the explanation of the source of funds, right? Because with all of the 170 pages, right, to have it summarized, and our conclusion in terms of our inference, right, on that report is that it lacked the explanation of the source of funds. Isn't that right?
That's absolutely correct.
Right? And so then that for me, right, I tell Ratty, the Prime Minister is in a conundrum. And to me, where the Integrity Commission just start to investigate, you know, as it relates to 2021 and upward, and where that investigation relates to Andrew Holness not coming forward in terms of, you know, answering some of the questions being asked as it relates to the source of funds. Now, FID, right? Starting from there, I see where this investigation, Ratty, is going to go way back to ADMAT. When I look at it, Ratty, no joke about it. This investigation is going straight back to ADMAT. No two way about it. So, and so then we can understand the reason why the Prime Minister is fighting so hard. So hard. Yes, you want to say something, Ratty? Go ahead.
I knew you were going to go back to ADMAT because I know you have it up for ADMAT. And you're right. You're right. That's a starting point. But now you understand why there were no FBI agents in Jamaica when the finance minister came out and said that, oh, we have FBI agents and they're coming and this and that. And if you remember, the gentleman who heads the anti-corruption component of the CTOC, the gentleman who headed CTOC, remember he came out and he said, there are no FBI agents here. It's a local investigation. And whenever we need, if we need FBI agents, we will make a request. But as of right now, no FBI. And now you know why, because I'm telling you, when the FBI show up, they're not going to just stop. You can't tell them, oh, we just needed to do this. And exactly. What they're going to do is they're going to follow the lead. They're going to follow their leads. And wherever the leads take them, that's where they're going. And as I sit here tonight, I'm telling you that there are several leads to be pursued. And if you go down those tracks, I'm telling you, you're gonna dig up all kinds of stuff. And it won't stop. It will not stop at Estate Bridge, Positive Jamaica Foundation, Imperium, and Green Emerald. And as I said to you, let me be clear about Green Emerald. Green Emerald was the company that paid Positive Media, paid them $2.something million to do advertising and loaned them $20 million. You imagine that? A company in the middle of the ghetto in a Cockburn pen for Henderson Avenue loaned the Prime Minister's company $20 million. And then the Prime Minister's company turned around and paid him $24 million. And then when they ask, where is the paperwork? No paperwork. How the hell can you be dealing with that kind of money in Jamaica and have no paperwork?
It's crazy.
Yeah. So you know they're gonna dig up all of this stuff, and it's going to cause all kinds of problems. And that's what I'm saying. The Prime Minister made a blunder.
Yes.
He made a blunder. He should not have pursued this course of action by saying I'm going to court. because now he has a 70-something page affidavit out there that people can peruse, and they can go through it and compare it to this report, to the Integrity Commission report. And I'm telling you, the people are going to have a feel. Right now, I can tell you that the American government, the embassy in Jamaica, they've gone through this already.
Yes.
I'm not even guess. This is not a guess or a supposition. I'm telling you, they've gone through this already. They've made their note. By the way, just so you know, they know whether it's lying or not, because they have all of that information. They know, and they're going to hold that. They're going to hold it. And I'm telling you, he's going to be their lackey. When they say, listen, we needed to jump, he's going to say, oh, hi, because otherwise it's going to be revealed. But we're trying to reveal it. We're trying to get as much as we can and reveal it, because this prime minister is not a good prime minister, Jamaica. And believe me, his supporters, they know this. The ones who have read the report, they know that this is what he's done is violated the trust that the people placed in him when they voted him in, because he came in with so much promise. Everyone that I spoke at the time, they said, boy, JLP and PNP are like, they said, we're ready for a change. And this is a young, bright, energetic, a prime minister, and he's going to do well. We want him to do well. We're going to support him. And he's turned out to be a grand disappointment. He's turned out to be a grand disappointment. The Integrity Commission, they stopped just short of calling him a liar. Just short. But if you read between the lines, they're calling him a liar.
They're calling him a liar.
They're calling him a liar. They stopped just short of writing the words of Mr. Prime Minister, you're a liar. And so, people of Jamaica, this is about you. This is not about a political party or anything like that. This is about one man who pledged. We should go back and read his pledge. We should go back and read his pledge when he took the oath of office.
Yes.
Right? We should go back and read that and say he pledged, right, to be the best leader of Jamaica, to provide, to support, to do all of these things for the people of Jamaica, to lead by example, to do all of these things. And is this the example? Is this the example where you, instead of coming forward and just telling the people, when they ask you, okay, give us your expense then, so that we can match it up with your salary and match it up with your assets? And he said, no. Is this the kind of example we need? This is not the kind of example we need.
It's crazy. All right, Ratty, we are going to get into the meat of the matter, because on the thumbnail, right, we're talking about, conspiracy to defraud, right? This is the public court of opinion, right? Let me say that, right, to make sure, I have that as my disclaimer. But Ratty, we are going to get in some documents here, and we want people to think on each document that we are going to present. Now, the first document that I'm going to present in terms of, proving the thumbnail tonight, right? Asking the question, is this conspiracy to defraud, right, the Jamaican people, right, and investors in SSL? Now, let us pull the first document, right? Go to, not document, we're going to pull the first video, and we're going to have them placed in a chronological sequence of how events, right, unfolded. And then we are going to look into the series of events. And of course, our opinion, right, whatever insinuation, whatever perception, right, whatever, we are going to make some reference to it. So let us play the video, and people need to follow us on each of the presentation that we are going to present tonight in terms of proving, right, get into our thumbnail as it relates to, is this conspiracy to fraud question. Now, let us display the first clip. Let us go to the first clip.
Boy, while you're looking for it, let me just tell Megawatt said, okay.
His first comment on the SSL saga, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark says, like all Jamaicans, he is in utter shock at the alarming and what he termed, quote, the evil fraud that has allegedly been committed.
I have great confidence in the capacity and determination of the investigative bodies to unravel all aspects of this and bring all perpetrators of this grand embezzlement to justice. At this time, it is tempting to doubt our financial institutions. But I would ask that we don't paint an entire hard-working industry with the brush of a few very dishonest individuals. Jamaica is the leading financial center in the English-speaking Caribbean, and we will do everything to protect Jamaica's position in this regard.
All right, people, let us see if we can, process that and believe as it relates to what Nigel Clark said, right? That, of course, his interest, right, is to get to the bottom of this. So let us play the second clip. We are putting them in sequence, right, in a chronological sequence for people to really look at the picture where SSL is concerned. Next clip.
The Prime Minister has said there will be full transparency in this matter. No stone will be left unturned. The investigation has full operational independence and will pursue the facts wherever they may lead. They will unearth exactly how funds were allegedly stolen, who benefited from such theft, and who organized and collaborated in this. The probe will also seek to identify whether assets have been acquired with the proceeds of this fraud, whether here in Jamaica or overseas. If and when such assets are identified, all legal steps will be taken to restrain these assets with intention of full forfeiture. Having spoken with some of those leading the investigation, I can say that they are resolute and determined to unravel its complexities and bring all responsible to justice. In fact, based on the magnitude of this fraud and the lines of inquiry being pursued, the Financial Investigations Division and the Fraud Squad have already, last week, sought assistance from the Federal Bureau of Investigations, the FBI, and other international partners. Ladies and gentlemen, despite this most unfortunate development, Jamaica's financial sector remains strong. There are, within the financial sector, we have the banking sector, the securities dealer sector, pensions.
Take it away. No, Brother Ratty, I am not even going to go to the third clip yet, because the third clip, we are putting him together tonight, We are going to slice and dice everything that he said. That clip said, as it relates to Nigel Clark, said no stone will be left unturned. And the guilty parties of this crime, this naughty crime, will expose. We know that every single word that we heard there in that clip has not been delivered. We know that everything that Nigel Clark spoke in that clip is a callous lie. Now, one of the apparent lie was where Nigel Clark said they consulted with the FBI and the FBI along with FID is working in tandem. No, Ratty, we know that that's a lie. Ratty, what say you?
let me just say to Minister Clark, listen, you're coming. We're gonna do a program on you this Saturday, Minister Clark. So watch carefully. And you're coming, and again, we're gonna be in touch. And like I said, I've lived, I've worked, I've gone to school in DC. I know the place fairly well. And the walls are thin in DC, if you know what I mean. But I know of places where I can take you and we can sit down and we can have a nice meal and we can talk about the issues in Jamaica. We can't talk about them while you're in Jamaica. So, and by the way, nobody will ever know that you and I have spoken, because any information that is singular in nature, I will not reveal it. Anything that they can't trace back to you, then sure, certainly it's fair game. But anything that will come back to you, so you don't have to worry about it. Plus, you're going to be here for what, 5 years, 5 years, and we know that your sponsor is leaving pretty soon. So you may have to leave because the person coming in will bring in their own team, but you will be able to get a job in the international financial sector. We can arrange that for you. Don't worry about it. We don't see you going back to Jamaica anytime soon. So we're going to sit and we're going to have a nice discussion, and you're going to tell us what actually went on with SSL and other things, you know, because the story about you couldn't find the document from FSC, and even though the FSC executive, the one who used to work with you, for you, said that he sent it to you by courier and by email, you claim you couldn't find it, and that you had to 1 week and you went through some drawers and you found it. We don't believe that story. So, but we'll get to that. Now, here's one of the things he said. He said, you can't pay the financial, and I'm paraphrasing, you can't paint the financial industry by the actions of a few dishonest individuals. How many people have we arrested out of that few? One.
Exactly.
One minister. One. That's shameful, because you come out and in a grandiose fashion, you say no stone will be left unturned, and that reminds me of Dr. Carl Williams, the former police commissioner, who left every stone unturned. He said he's not gonna leave any stone unturned, and he left every single one of them unturned. One of the worst police commissioners in the history of Jamaica, the Jamaica Constabulary Force. And you said that you're gonna pursue facts where they lead. You talk like you're an investigator. That's what it sounds like to me. So yeah, since you take the lead, then you have to take the blame. And you said the people will be resolute and determined to bring people to justice, and that the FID and the fraud squad, they sought assistance from the FBI and other partners. Now, Minister Clark, it would be a disservice for you to leave Jamaica and not tell the people when the FBI came to Jamaica. What FBI team came to Jamaica? And we're not talking about the one person who was assigned to the embassy. We're not counting that person. That's the person's job, right? That's the ALAT, the assistant legal attaché, who works for the person, who works for the legal attaché who's based in the Dominican Republic. Jamaica is like a road trip, they call it, but I think they have somebody there now. We're not talking about that, sir. We're talking about a team of it, because you gave the impression that a team was going to come in and they were going to look from top to bottom and they're going to work with FID and FSC or whomever they're going to work with. And instead you brought in Kroll, Kroll.
Yes.
I paid, yeah, you pay for that service. And up to now, we still don't see the report from Kroll. And Kroll pack up and gone. And the UK government gave you, they subsidized Kroll. So they paid some money for Kroll, and Jamaica paid a little bit, and we brought Kroll in. So some of these consultants, these fat cats, they made a ton of money off of this thing, and we still don't see the report, Minister Clark. So you cannot leave Jamaica without talking about the FBI and the other international partners coming in, along with Kroll, and addressing this investigation. And if you choose not to speak to the Jamaican people, then when you come here, you and I can talk, and then we can figure out a way how we can release information without anything being attributed to you. And trust me, yeah. So we can arrange. That's easy peasy. So when you come, we're gonna be talking. But Minister Clark, watch your thing this Saturday. We're going to do a little piece on you. But getting back to your question about FBI and thing, this is Nonsense. This is rubbish. Because I'm telling you, if the FBI were there, they would have come out, and what would happen is that the team leader would have come out, and you see when they do the press conferences, team leader would have been there and would be get introduced, and the person would say, yes, we're here to assist the Jamaican government, and blah blah blah. 30 seconds, and then I'm done, right? But then you'd have a team, because then you'd have a team, you'd have investigators, you'd have analysts, you'd have a team leader, and whoever else they want to bring. So you're talking about a minimum of about 4 people. Minimum 4 people to come and do this thing and unravel it. So, oh yeah, Unicare, yeah, the laptops. Yeah, no, you know that building, that's a crime scene, right? And somehow people violate the space and go in and thief the laptop. Then, what this, you can't make this up. If you get a screenwriter or a playwright, something, and say, make up a story. Make up a story. We can do a film or a play about a financial this stuff here. They can't make this up. Cannot make this up. Only in Jamaica. So,
well, Ratty, space, you know, let us, you know, deal with the next document that we are going to display, because this is going to get even more interesting, right? So we are going to go to the next document, right? Because you know, as it relates to Nigel Clark, right, spoke about Crawl, right? And you have just spoken about Crawl, that, you know, Crawl came in. But let us go to this document, right, and see how they are putting all the ducks in a row, right? Line up our thing, right, in a chronological sequence. So let us go to the next document. Of Gov. Yes. And this document is quite interesting. Yes, Ratty, this document is really, really quite interesting. This is where things are going to be exposed as it relates to what seems to be what we call systemic corruption that this document is going to play out. Without any delay, lift up this. Now, Brother Ratty and viewers, we're going to go through this document, right? Now, let us get to, let me start in terms of, hold on. Doesn't work now. Okay. All of it is there. All of it is there. All right, good. Now let us get into, okay, we have recovery. All right, we're going to read from recovery 3.0 before we get into the investigation. Very interesting, you know, right? And the amount of lies that pop into this document. So 3.0, recovery of SSL client losses due to the alleged fraud. The transfer described in section 1.1, 1.3 above represent transfers of client assets that existed in SSL at the time of the appointment of the temporary manager. As such, none of the 200 accounts reportedly affected by SSL fraud have recovered any part of what was lost due to the fraud. Any recovery could only come by way of identification and pursuit of the proceed of the fraud in accordance with Jamaica Proceeds of Crime Act. As such, the Financial Investigation Division, FID, in its role as the Asset Recovery Agency under the POCA, is empowered by law to provide for the investigation, identification, and recovery of the proceed of crime and for connected matters. The FID is also the enforcing authority under the POCA for the purposes of conducting proceedings relating to criminal forfeiture under Section 5 of the Act, and the FID is also expressly authorized to conduct civil recovery proceedings in the Supreme Court. Now, people, let us get into the 4.0 SSL investigation. Let us get into this investigation here. Now, as I come to Nigel Clark, as I mentioned in my opening budget presentation in March 2023, and again in March 2024, with respect to the investigation into SSL. The policy position of the government is that we will make available whatever resources are required to ensure a thorough, fair, and complete and independent investigation. We will also leave no stone unturned, like Nigel Clark. We will also, bulletin point number 2, follow the evidence wherever it may lead, and bulletin point number 3, and seek international assistance. Now, this is the policy that has been implemented. As previously updated, Kroll Associates UK Limited, a renowned international investigations firm, was engaged to undertake an independent forensic audit to understand the facts relating to the fraud perpetrated at Stocks and Securities Limited over the period 2010 to 2023. The company was selected because it did not have any connection in Jamaica and because its vast experience given the complexity of the matter. The volume of transactions, the number of accounts held by clients, and the number of bank accounts held by the SSN network of companies. The Kroll team, working with support of government agencies, including the FID and FSC, utilized technology, data analytics, and forensic expertise to produce a comprehensive and independent report. People, let me read about that over now, because this is important in terms of where we are going tonight, and to show systemic corruption. Let us read about that paragraph over. I want people to remit this in their heads. The Kroll team, working with support of government agencies, who are the government agencies, including the FID and FSC, what they do in terms of all the tools that they utilize technology, data analytics, and forensic expertise to produce what? A comprehensive and independent report of its findings in November 2023. The Kroll report has confirmed that the suspected fraudulent activity and mismanagement at SSL and its related parties were much broader than initially understood. When the benefit of this report, their own investigations, and through collaboration with other law enforcement agencies, the FID had publicly reported that a file, listen now people, that a file was submitted to the Office of the Director of the Public Prosecutions for the consideration of criminal charges against individual linked to SSL network. Now let me read back that over. I want people to understand where I'm going. Now let us read back that over again. With the benefit of this report, their own investigations, and remember what they use, remember what they use. They use the utilized modern technology, data analytics, and forensic expertise to produce a comprehensive report. Now, so with the benefit of that comprehensive report, their own investigations, and through collaborations with other law enforcement agencies, the FID has publicly reported that a file now, from all of what been done, was now submitted to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions for the consideration of criminal charges against individuals linked to SSL network of companies and or the companies pursuant to the Proceeds of Crime Act, Larceny Act, and financial sector legislations. Take it away. Let me talk to the panel. Brother Rattigan.
Yes, sir.
I know you have listened keenly to what I have just read here. Now I'm going to come with my questions. So we have seen where FID, we have seen where CRAWD, we have seen where FSC work in collaboration, work in tandem to present a comprehensive report. Upon the completion of their report, they recommended charges. They submitted the file to the DPP. Ratty, what's the DPP is waiting on?
What's the DPP what?
What is it that the DPP is waiting on?
Oh, we have one lady. They have one lady that they charge. Remember, you said that there are a few, and I guess one is a few.
Yes.
But again, let me just take a step back. Oh, by the way, Reggae Girl, your donation. Big up everybody who donated and who tuned in on Sunday night. I haven't checked the
Reggae Girl.
Yeah, but I will check it. But Reggae Girl, big up yourself. Big up yourself. Big up everybody who tuned in and made a donation. And the thing's still open. If you don't want to make a donation, you can make a donation. So we'll talk about so how we are going to really disperse the funds. I'm not going to really love it. Trust me. Worthy causes. But, you know, it says, what you just read, it says that the FID collaborated with Kroll and with other law enforcement agencies. If you notice, it never say FBI. Yet when him come out and making big speech himself, FBI, blah, 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 blah. Why never say in this report say that, okay, we collaborate with the FBI? Because that's not secret, because you come out and talk about it already. And if you look, it says the Kroll report. You know what happened here? Kroll took the lead. Kroll took the lead. And let me tell you now, let me share something with you folks. The FBI is not going to go into an investigation and take orders from a private firm. It is not going to happen. It is not going to happen. They're not going to do it. Because there you have all kinds of problems. You're going to have one of compromises. You're going to have one of the protection of classified information. They're just simply not going. Then you're going to have one of who's in charge and how will the information flow. And the FBI is not going to do it. I'm telling you, they're not going to have Kroll come and work under Kroll and have Kroll put out a report. Hell no. Here's what more than likely happened. If the FBI, if they were involved, the one person with that embassy, then bring some leads over to the person and say, listen, can you run these through your system and tell us what you find? Or can you run these through, the various field offices? Like if SSL had a connection to an office, let's say in Seattle, Washington, the ALAT would then send it to, it would cut the legat in Dominican Republic, and then a lead would be set to the Seattle office, and then they would pursue the lead, obtain the information, and send it back to the legat and the ALAT, so that then they in a format where they can pass it to the Jamaican government. But in terms of sitting down and working with Kroll, that I'm willing to bet you that didn't happen. That did not happen. I have a few sources, and they're telling me that no team left Washington D.C. or the U.S. or anywhere and went to Jamaica and sit down there and work with Kroll and the Jamaican government. So when they say that they collaborated, and that's the key word. When they say collaborated, they're talking about shagging. We call it shagging leads. That's what I mean. Meaning that they just come over and say, hey, we want you to check to see if this person was in the States, or if this person did that, or if this account is there, or whatever, the transfers, blah, 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 blah. And then they take that piece of paper and then they send it to the United States to a field office. Field office would just cover the lead, send the information back, then they would pass it on to them. But in terms of sitting down and working with these people, no, because so many mistakes were made there that I just can't see the FBI doing it. Just, how the hell you, Freedom mentioned it too, the stuff that's on the computer, that should be somewhere, that should be stored somewhere else. I know you can have basically a crime scene people working inside our crime scene, and then things being stolen out our crime scene. That's nonsensical. I never heard of something like this. So, and then if you notice, it came out saying that it was the Kroll report. I've been involved in overseas investigations where leaders of a particular country called me and I said, listen, we have an issue here and we would like you to assist with it. And the FBI went in by itself and we did a comprehensive investigation, and then we provided a report to the leader of that nation and his staff. That's how it's done. You don't come in and then have them hire private concern, and then you work alongside a private concern, and then your report gets mixed in with that private concerns, the results of their investigation. What's it gonna say? Kroll report, and then Kroll going to say, oh, but the FBI, we talk to the FBI and we'll work with them, and it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that, people. Just believe me. Just believe me when I tell you. So this idea of turning over stones, the stone turn over upon Nigel, that's why I'm wrong with. The stone them turn over upon him. Believe me, him not turn over no stone at all. They're probably looking at him now as the weak fence, and you know, like our good friend, was it Lonesome? Was it, yeah, beyond Lonesome? What's the team said that Minister Clark, you know, there will be a lot of going away parties for you. Don't eat when you go to those places. Don't eat and don't drink. Just tell them say you're full, eat at your yard, because they know you're coming here and they really don't trust you. They don't trust you. They think that you're a weak fence and that you will wilt under pressure and you will spill the beans. That remains to be seen, because you know, you and I will go have a little talk, and you know, that's separate and apart from whoever might want to talk to you from official agencies now. But you and I will have a little talk, and you know, we'll see how things go. But again, Byron, this thing here, this report here, it makes no sense that Kroll would do a report. FID would take excerpts from that report or the report itself and pass it over to the DPP with charges to be filed, and yet still we only have one person today that's been charged. It makes no sense.
But this is how we are trying to prove the systemic corruption, because look, so we have FID, Ratty, and we have Kroll and FSC along with other collaborators, right, who work in the case. Now, my question, if Nigel Clark stated that the scope of the SSL investigation is out of the capacity of the Jamaican financial investigators to fully comprehend, right? And so Nigel Clark seek the help of forensic experts, Kroll, and Kroll completed a comprehensive report, right, and recommended charges to be laid. Then my question is, why Paula Llewellyn, with limited experience in financial crime, asking for more information? Because this is where I'm going, Ratty. This is where I'm going. Let me shape it. Nigel Clark looking on the scope of the crime, of the fraud. He said it's pretty much huge as it relates to the amount of accounts being affected, right? So Nigel Clark said to get to the bottom of the crime, he wants an independent investigator outside the boundaries of Jamaica, right? And quite professional forensic investigator who have the vast experience as it relates to financial crime, right? And so FID came in as a result of that. Now remember, in the DPP, right, doesn't have the expertise as it relates to FID, so to speak, as it relates to Kroll, so to speak. Paula Llewellyn doesn't have the financial expertise. So you have Kroll, you have FID, right? FSC, all of them combined.
And CTOC.
And CTOC, all of them combined do a comprehensive report and said, okay, here it is, Paula, and recommended charges to be laid. But when Paula got the report, Paula sit on it and asking for more information. But my take is this. Then if Paula doesn't have the expertise as it relates to financial crime, investigating that high level of financial crime, and which Kral had done it, why is it that Paula is requesting more information? I just don't get it. And she's not the expert.
See, that's why I keep saying that the best way to address this is what they call intelligence-led investigations. And what that means is that you have to stop working in silos, and you use the fusion center, the intelligence center concept, where everybody gets together and they have this initiative, SSL, and one of the key persons there will always be your prosecutor. Because at the end of the day, when you arrest somebody, that person has to be taken to court for a trial, unless the person pleads guilty. And even you have to plead guilty in court anyway. So they should have been working. She should have assigned somebody in her office with some background in prosecuting financial crimes, if she's not the one going to prosecute it. And then they would sit down. She would get the statute and said, okay, this is what I need to prove fraud. This is what I need to prove whatever the charges they're thinking about. And they start from there. But you can't do the report and then send it over to her, because you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen when you send it over there. It's just like when they send it to when the Integrity Commission sends a recommendation to the corruption prosecutor. You know what's going to happen. You know, we've seen it. You need to have them sit down from Jump Street and say, okay, I am going to need this. These are the elements of the crime. These are the things I need to prove to get a conviction. And so investigators, analysts, whoever else we have, you need to go out and bring me back these key pieces of what we call evidence, because I'm going to have to present this in a court of law to obtain my conviction. And you start from there. But you can't have them do a report and then you bring the report over to her and then she says, oh, I need more information. And you're right. She's saying I need more information, and we don't even know if she has an expertise in prosecuting financial crimes.
That's what I'm talking about. Now, it's crazy, but watch this now, Ratty, in terms of the next document that I'm going to present. And then now you can see the pieces of the systemic corruption, just combining together. You will see how that piece is shaped. Because look, before we get to that document, Ratty, let us reason a little bit as it relates to my prediction, our subjective opinion. We have seen that the Integrity Commission, right, submitted a report, right? But let us look on the corruption prosecutor. We can presume, right, based on what we call modus operandi, the pattern of behavior coming from the corruption prosecutor, as it relates to find some ways, some means, some method, right, not to bring forth charges against the culpable, right, the culprits. Now, I can tell you, Ratty, that my perception, right, as it relates to this recent report that sent to Parliament, and we are anticipating Parliament to have it tabled, right, is that the corruption prosecutor, right, we're going to see ways and means in terms of her justification. I'm just saying this. This is my opinion, right? Because I am now reached the level where I think I can anticipate the corruption prosecutor based on her history, based on her pattern of behavior. Okay. I can fear it. You understand? As it relates to my opinion, subjective opinion, right, is saying that what we are going to see in that report is that the corruption prosecutor find ways and means, right, to suggest why charges, right, she's not going to charge, right? So let me just get that out of the way. So then nothing is going to surprise me. As a matter of fact, I will be surprised if the corruption prosecutor comes with charges. I will be surprised. So let me say that, right? Now, let us go to the next document, right? And put some thought.
Before I touch the next document, here is the thing. I would be surprised if the report, let's say the report is about the Prime Minister's wife and the Speaker of the House and the corruption. I would be surprised if the prosecutor says, yes, I recommend prosecution. I'd be surprised. Because we've seen instances where she did go along with the prosecution of Leslie Campbell. She did go along with the prosecution of Marissa Dalrymple Philibert, Vaz, and a couple other people. But the key people, we want to say, what we want, here's what we want from our corruption prosecutor. We want our corruption prosecutor to display incorruptibility. What do I mean by that? Meaning that she's going to dispense her decision without fear, favor, friendship.
Yes. Fairness.
Without fear, favor, friendship.
Yes.
That's what we want. And if she's not going to prosecute somebody, it should be based on the facts and law. It should be based on it can't be based on the things that we've seen. What she's twisted. Look, the four accounts the other day. There is no reason why I didn't see a legal reason as to why the Prime Minister was not prosecuted. I just didn't see it.
Exactly.
I didn't see it. Look at the facts, and then she used a case that was an election case that, to me, it was inapplicable to the facts at hand.
Exactly.
Right? If you're going to do that, you come up with more than one case. You know, there's lots of cases she could have used based on the facts to say, okay, fine. But here's the thing, and I learned this in law school a long time ago. A professor said to me, sometimes the way judges work, because look, we're all biased. No matter how much we try to be independent and objective, we are biased. We are biased, right? And he said, what some of the judges do is that them already decide in their mindset, this is what they want. And now they work backwards. They find ways to justify the decision. Instead of starting from the facts and applying the law and then reach a decision, they already reach a decision based on their biases. And they said, no, I have to go and find something now to justify. And when you read the corruption prosecutor's last report, when you read it, it just sounded like to me like that is what happened. She decided that I'm not going to prosecute this Prime Minister, and so let me find something. That's what it sounds like to me. Exactly. And then she come up with this case that it was a weak case. Was just a weak case, and then she just ignored some of the facts that she ignored the facts that he got training on what to do and what not to do with his statutory declaration in terms of providing information. He got training. She completely ignored that. That shows that goes to knowledge, that he knew him supposed to do it. And from that he can go to intent, right? But and remember no, the statute says not intentionally, it says knowingly. And if you show that, look, he knew he was supposed to do it.
Exactly.
He knew it. And then he got the training. And then not only that, he admitted that he was using those accounts. He was using the accounts. He said he admitted that he was on the accounts and that he used the accounts. Exactly. And she just said, well, no, I don't see any evidence here. So sorry to interrupt you, my brother.
Yes. So let me ask another question, Ratty. Now that we know that, okay, all right, 28 accounts out there as it relates to what we believe, we the public believe that, okay, 28 accounts. I am asking the question, Ratty. What if, right, during FID investigation, that FID find more accounts out there and the Prime Minister who have the opportunity right now, right, has not spoken as it relates to it, as it relates to any other accounts that may have not yet been established. What will happen?
You know what? I never thought about that. That's an interesting point you raise. That's a very good point. I never thought about that, to be honest with you. Okay. No, here is my on the spot thinking, because I never thought about this, so I never processed it or anything. But I'm processing it now as you mentioned it. Yes. And here's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna add something to what you say, right? And say, add it by asking the question. If the Fed, if in their investigation they come up with other accounts that he didn't tell the Integrity Commission about, who's going to prosecute now? Do they send it back to the Integrity Commission and say, here you have something else, or do they go ahead and prosecute on their own because they can for financial crimes? It's going to be interesting. That's an interesting point to raise. I don't know what the answer is going to be. I really don't.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Ratty, we are going to move to the next information that we'll be displaying, right, and see how it's look more to be systemic corruption, right, that we are presenting tonight as it relates to, you know, our topic, our thumbnail, right, is this conspiracy to defraud. Now, as we speak, let us get into sealing the evidence. Okay. Right, let us get to that and read that as it relates to what we are presenting tonight, based on the chronological sequence, right? And we talk about, on the previous document, we have seen where Fitz, we have seen where Crawl, we have seen where the FSC and other competent bodies, investigators, working in collaboration to present a comprehensive report to the DPP, right, and presenting it and recommend charges. Now, let us read this document that I am presenting. And remember, FSC was a part of that collaboration, right, in terms of putting that comprehensive report together. So let us read this. FSC requests judge to hide trustees' report on SSL wind-up cases. No look good. Remember that the previous document that we have read, FSC, Fitz, and Crawl, right, have done their investigation, and from the first line that we are reading, seal the evidence, FSC requests judge to hide trustees' report on SSL wind up. Now let us get to the bottom meat of the matter. Tax and Security Limited and the Financial Service Commission were back in court Thursday for a progress update on winding down the fraud affecting SSL. But things took a turn when the FSC requested that the trustees' report be sealed due to concerns over its contents. What could that concern be? The request was made by Simone Mahi, KC, the new legal counsel representing the FSC. To the judge overseeing the case, Justice David Batt, after going over the report prepared by Kadian Campbell, whose appointment as trustee of SSL was upheld by the court in May against the wishes of the FSC. At that time, Justice Batt ordered Campbell to prepare a report within 90 days, and that the report was to be the subject of the court hearing on Thursday. Okay, so that report was done. However, it was revealed that Campbell submitted the report on Wednesday, a day before the hearing, and that he was requesting that the extension for the filing of the report be dated to when it was submitted. There were no objections by any of the attorneys present to accepting the late report. But May noted that the FSC's side was at a disadvantage due to the late submission of the report. Let us quote what the FSC is saying. We do have certain concerns, though, my lord. We do believe that given the nature of this estate, certain fees would have to be approved by the court, my lord. We have particular concerns about the report that has been filed. It's an odd situation, my lord. As I was saying to my friend, it's not your regular claim where someone files an affidavit and there is a response. But there are things in the report that trouble us. Akuda Waso said May in her statement to Justice Bat. Justice Bat accepted Campbell's request that his report, which was filed late, be accepted as final. Caroline Hay, KC Campbell, King Counsel, Campbell's legal representative, gave notice that SSL trustee would be filing 3 additional applications to the court which arise from Justice Bat's last ruling in May. Open quote. We also have some concerns about the publication of the report, my lord. Given the things that concern us, and we are wondering, my lord, if it's an appropriate matter to do so. If we had gotten it before, we would have been able to make the proper applications. But ending further consideration, my lord, the report be sealed. But we are going to be approaching the court with some format as it relates to the content of the report. May added in her remarks. The request to seal the trustees' report by the FSC could affect October 18 meeting Campbell had set with creditors and claimants. Campbell has been reviewing the activities undertaken by the temporary manager, Kenneth Tomlinson, who was appointed by the FSC in January 2017. Up until he was dislodged in May, Campbell had indicated in his letter to claimants and creditors that he would be seeking to recover the insurance proceeds of SSL Fidelity Insurance Policy, which was used by Tomlinson during his time as temporary manager. With the FSC seeking to have the trustee report sealed, he asked the FSC, be careful in its publication to the media and public to avoid creating an incorrect narrative. She mentioned this point as she noted that Campbell had to deal with the FID, grant creditors, adjudication claims, and off-balance sheet assets of SSL clients, and that threats on litigations came from some clients whose claims did not come in a timely manner. He even referenced a Jamaica Observer article titled 4.7 billion good news for SSL clients, and quoted verbatim from the same article which contained parts of FSC's statement to the public. The FSC has been limiting its public commentary on SSL, which has been to the dissatisfaction of affected SSL clients. Right, the regulator last updated the public in May after the judgment. Let us take that away. We don't have to go any further. Now, Ratty, to me, as it relates to what we have just read, and here we have where FSC and Feed and Crawl had done their investigations and comprehensive report. Now, in this particular situation, right, we're moving away from that comprehensive report that they had done. We have seen now FSC, right, want to seal certain information. So then, my question is, FSC is pursuing openness and clarity within the matter for public understanding of, you know, what is the intricacies in SSL debacle, right? In terms of what transpired and where transparency goes, where FSC is claiming on one hand, doing investigation with Crawl, doing investigation with, you know, those approved bodies that, you know, who are supposed to investigate. But here they are now, which I don't understand. To the contrary, that they want to seal information. What say you on that, Ratty?
FSC, folks, we need to understand that FSC is different from FID. FSC is a regulatory body. They're
Yes.
there to make sure that, you know, the financial sector is running smoothly. They're not there to prosecute anyone. They do audits. They do audits,
Yes.
and that's how they make their money. My understanding is that it is not funded by the government. It's funded by the private industry, financial sector, because when they do audits, people have to pay for the audits, and the audits are called for by government regulations, and it makes sense because they have to protect the investor. Now, the failure of SSL, you can contribute that to FSC and the Ministry of Finance, because the FSC said that they found some things wrong with how SSL was doing business, and then they said that they forwarded that to the Ministry of Finance, because remember now, they're just a regulatory body, they just do audits. And they said, this is what we found, and I think they did more than one audit, and they found a pattern and practice of financial irregularity. So they sent this over to the Ministry of Finance, and we know what happened there. So some people have made it a point to say, well, that they're partially to blame too, because they could have come out and said something instead of just, you know, keeping it quiet, except for the letter that they sent to the Minister of Finance. But now you see what's going on. First of all, they didn't want the trustee, this person.
Yes.
They said no. And they said to the judge, we don't want this person. And the judge said, no, you're going to have this person. And then the person provided the report late. Yeah, the person provided the report late. But then again, nobody objected to the late report. They said, we all accepted it. And then while they accepted it, this is the FSC, Financial Services Commission, they turn around now and said, but there are some things in the report that we didn't get a chance to object to, and it's not like an affidavit where somebody can write something and then you respond to it. We can't really respond to this, and they're coming up with all kinds of foolishness, and now asking the judge to seal the report because they said that there are some things in the report that they take issue with. Now, the only thing I can think of, well, one of the things I can think of that they would take issue with is their role in all of this. And I think that's what's happening here, because they played a role, and the trustee might be critical of the role that they play in protecting the investment, the people's investments. And so I think they want to have a chance to go over it with the trustee to say, no, you have to take that out, because it might be it's going to be a negative reflection on them. So I think that's why they want to sit down. I don't think they have a problem with the trustee, in the sense that the trustee found some money and said, okay, we're going to pay back pennies on the dollars or whatever on the dollar. I think they have a problem with what the trustee is said or will say about them and their role. So that's why they're asking for it to be sealed. It's something that's going to reflect negatively on them, because it just can't be the trustee saying that. And just so people know, the trustee is supposed to do a report talking about how they're going to pay back people. I don't think they have a problem with that. I think they have a problem with the role, what the trustee will say about the role that FSC played in all of this. And now, you know, people go and blame them. And the spotlight will shine on them, and it's going to be a problem. So I think that's it. But, you know, I'm just hoping that the judge will just say, what's it, October 18th, 19th, something like that, they have a hearing. I'm hoping that the judge will just say, no, I'm not going to seal this. Make it public, you know, and just pay back the people. So, you know, that's where I think it should go. I don't think they should seal this thing up, because people need to know what really happened. And we're not getting that information from the prosecutor or from the agency's investigator. We're not getting that. We have one person. And again, I go back to say, Mr. Nigel Clark said there are a few dishonest individuals that are tarnishing the industry's name, painting it in a bad light. And to me, one is not a few. One is not a few. We need more people. And if you look at it from a common sense standpoint, there's no way that this one lady could have moved around and funneled out all of that money by herself. There were layers inside of that organization in terms of bosses. So people knew what was going on. And you can't move that kind of money without people taking notice of it. So, and then remember now she said that she was actually forced to sign that statement, that statement was prepared for her.
Yes.
So we have some more problems again. So this SSL thing is not, I don't think we're anywhere near to addressing the full scope of this thing, even though they said that Kroll did their report and Kroll collect them paycheck and Kroll is gone, you know. And then think about it too. Think about it. You know, we always hear the minister of national security talk about the investigators in Jamaica, because the police they can do this too as a financial fraud case. CTOC is involved, and we hear them talk about how they have some of the best investigators in North America, if not the world. And then all of a sudden they go out and then they get a private company to come in and they talk about the expertise of the private company. And I'm saying, well, what about your expertise? You were bragging about your expertise. Put it on display. Let us see it. And then he said, oh, we wanted somebody who's not affiliated with Jamaica. It's just foolishness. So if that is the case, then why you want the FBI? Because the FBI has a presence in Jamaica. So, you know, man, this is just foolishness on top of foolishness on top of foolishness. And again, I just hope the Jamaican people can see the relevance of this and see the connection to their dire straits. I hope they can see it, because we're trying our level best to break it down to the lowest common denominator so that everybody can understand that corruption hurts everybody. You know, don't think that because it happened up top, then it doesn't affect you. It affects you because the money that's the subject of corruption up top should have flowed. It should have flowed down to you, and you don't get any of that downstream. So you need to start expanding your thought process and see things, you know, see things from a panoramic view instead of a myopic. See broad like this.
Yes.
Okay, where was that money supposed to go? Start asking who, very simple questions: who, why, what, where, when, how. Just ask those questions.
Yes.
And you see that it affects you. Yes, Rockwell.
But in the long run, it is those people who didn't even benefit have to pay back all of that money in terms of loans.
Thank you very much.
They benefit, but you have to pay it back.
Thank you very much. That's an excellent point. People remember that the $750 million that Jamaica received during COVID, and some of you never got any of that money, even though it was especially poor people, because it came in for poor people and businesses, and the poor people, a lot of never get any money. Guess what? You, but certainly your children, if not you, your children and your children's children will be paying back that loan. I will never get the money, and the money came for you. That make any sense?
But I tell you something, Ratty, and I'm glad how you touched that. To me, that just describe, you know, the viciousness of this prime minister. To know that people are suffering in COVID, and you have gotten money, donations, right, to pass on to the Jamaican people, and you ring it to your company, charity company, and converted the money to your personal use. I don't think it can get, you know, that is just off the hook when you look on that behavior. Remember, we are not telling any lie on the Prime Minister, right? That came out into the report. Where the Prime Minister converted donations to his personal use. So I have to argue now. I mean, where is the Prime Minister heart lies? Does he have any? Does the Prime Minister have a conscience?
No, you know what he's saying now? I tell you, the people around him, they're so stupid. They're saying now that, was it Positive Jamaica Foundation, that charity, they're saying it wasn't registered as a charity. That's what they're saying now. But he was soliciting funds for it as a charity.
As a charity?
Yeah. He wasn't saying to people, this is my personal thing. I want to send money to me. Positive Jamaica Foundation is not I'm sure he didn't say Positive Jamaica Foundation is not a charity, people. This is my personal account and I want to send money. It's going to be one of my 28 accounts. So I want to send money to this account for me. I'm sure he never said that.
No.
I'm sure he never said that. He was using it as a charity. Now, here's the problem. See, him create more problems for himself, because the problem now is going to be, well, you were using it as a charity, but you're in violation of the law because you didn't register it as a charity.
Charity. So that's another problem.
It's another problem.
That's another problem for the Prime Minister.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead, Ratty. Sorry.
No, I was saying I don't know who's advising him, but I don't think the challenge. I think the challenge you have now is legal versus moral. He will argue that has not done anything illegal. He can make the argument, Larkland, but the facts don't show that. The facts don't show that. The facts. Let me give you one, Larkland. Let me give you one. The facts show that when he got that $50 million loan from Barita, and he claimed that he put up stocks, he put up, and the paperwork show that he put up stocks, the Shenstone property, and an insurance policy. Here's what the facts show. He got the loan before he owned the stocks, the shares. He got the loan before he owned them. He's supposed to have the loan before getting, because that's what he's going to use as collateral. Exactly. And it shows that he used the loan to purchase the shares that he pledged as collateral. He take the money first and then buy the shares later, and almost 2 weeks later, and then say, here are the shares. Wherever hear that, Larkland, you think you can go in the bank, Larkland, and tell them, say, you want to borrow $10, and them say, where you collateral? And you say, no, give me the money first, and then you go buy the collateral, and I'm come go the next week. Wherever hear that, Larkland. The other thing is that they found out that there was no policy. There's no policy. And the third thing is that the property. They found out that he didn't own the property. Imperium didn't own that property until 6 months. 6 months after he got the loan, the property was owned by ADMAT. And the loan was given to Imperium. He didn't own it. So that's what I'm saying to you. They can say whatever they want to say, but the facts are the facts, right? The facts won't change. The paperwork is there, or the paperwork is not there in some instances. So, and the idea with him using the money from the foundation to purchase the $94,000 bond, the bank, the bank personnel testified. They said, no, we never because he said, oh, I gave them instructions. I gave them verbal instructions. They testified that we do not accept verbal instructions for transactions like this. We do not. You have to put it in writing. And it makes sense. Because if something go wrong, you don't want a client come and say, me did tell you, say, or something go wrong. And the client probably never did, but just come and say, no. So they said, no, want it in writing. And then they try to change it. And then what happened? Him take the money and put Imperium was controlled exclusively by the Prime Minister. Imperium started out with 1,000 shares. The Prime Minister owned 600 and 400 just sit down, not assigned to anybody. Him owned Imperium. And the money for the bond went to Imperium, an account controlled exclusively, solely, only by the Prime Minister. Him are the owner of Imperium, nobody else. Maybe him change it now, but at the time, him are the man who run Imperium. And he had the money. The investigation shows that he had the money. When he cashed in the bond, he had the money being used for 3 years. 3 years. And it's only when he was approached by the Integrity Commission, he moved the money back, the 30-something thousand back into the charity. Then listen to this now. If it's your account If it's your account, if Positive Jamaica Foundation is your account, it's not a charity. Nobody can tell you what to do with it. So why you move the money after them talk to you and you move back the same amount and move it back over there? Why you do that? You should just say, no, Positive Jamaica is my personal account. I use that account. It's one of my 28 accounts. So I'm not moving any money. So I can do whatever I want because it's my account. Why move it when them come to him and say to him, say, hey, you use money from the charity and you use it for the last 3 years. You buy the bond with it and all that stuff and you shouldn't do it. Why nobody just tell them, say, no, man, no business this. This is my thing. Why nobody do that? That's why I said to him have some stupid people. And him no realize that him are running a more trouble now. More trouble him are running out with this foolishness.
Yes.
Deeper.
Yes, digging his hole deeper. So right. No.
Oh, like who hold him accountable? Look, if you look on the screen, look to my left. You see two people over there, so? Yeah, them are holding him accountable.
All right.
Look to him, right. You see me are holding him accountable.
All right.
And we have others over here where we're trying to hold him accountable and we will hold him accountable. Just watch. Because you know what happened, Larkland? Think about it, Larkland. 5 years ago, you never have something like this where you look on right now. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you never had this. Somebody who can, the report, 10 years ago, the report would have come out, nobody would have heard anything about it. The cleaner report on it one time, and then that's the end of that. But now you have people who have beat it, and not only have beat it, but also break it down so that you don't have to read it. Or if you can read it if you want, but if you don't want to read it, you just want to hear what I want. And what we do, we show you page number, we show you paragraph number.
Exactly.
So if you doubt us, you can go read it for yourself.
Exactly. All right. So let us get into our final clip for tonight.
Hey, Kenra, I'm going to find a shot and run, you know. I was there for the entire program, Kenra.
All right. So let us get to the final clip tonight because and go to the persons who have been, one of the main person was being affected as it relates to the SSL debacle. Let us bring up that Bolt distress. All right, let us read out that document. No, here it is. Bolt's distress. Jamaican athletics icon shocked and disappointed at lack of updates on SSL fraud. Failure to return stolen $12.7 million US. Oh my goodness. This is just disgraceful. This is just disgraceful. Olympics legend Usain Bolt is said by his attorney to be shocked and disappointed by the lack of movement in the more than 1 year old SSL fraud case. 8-time Olympic champion Usain Bolt is shocked and disappointed over the lack of transparency surrounding the investigation into billions of dollars defrauded from his and more than 30 other clients' accounts at Stocks and Security Limited, SSL, more than a year ago. The world record holder in the 100-meter and 200-meter sprint is also frustrated that despite the announcement of a criminal investigation involving the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the United States and other international partners, there has been no update about his stolen US $12.7 million. So let me say something to you, Bolt, right? There is no FBI that have Federal Bureau of Investigation involved in this investigation, right? Nigel Clark tell outright lie. Nigel Clark overall, to my opinion, subject opinion, is covering up all the dirty linen in SSL. Lincoln Gordon Bolton's attorney told the Gleaner yesterday that the retired track legend is yearning to know who is responsible for his missing funds at the scandal-scarred investment firm. Dr. Nigel Clark announced that investigators were coming from Canada, England, from Timbuktu, and from the United States. We haven't had one iota of information regarding the outcome of those investigations. This is vicious, though. This is really vicious. This is really vicious. So we don't know who took the money, who we can turn to, because everything is now undercover, God said. Clark, who will leave his post as Minister of Finance and Public Service later this month for a senior position at the International Monetary Fund, could not be reached for a comment on the matter as called to his phone when unanswered. No, we could stop it right here and talk to
I have a question regarding
Yes.
this whole thing. Since this lawyer said that they cannot hear anything, is it that they can get a subpoena so that we can get a copy of the report, or can we subpoena the reports
It's a good
as
question.
the people so that we can get to see it? Since it's done, it's submitted, the people paid for it, so the people have a right to see it.
Yeah, they could file a motion to have it released, because you're right, it's taxpayers' funds.
Exactly.
And to the best of my knowledge, there's nothing in there that's confidential, because otherwise they would have mentioned that. And if you notice in the article, you didn't see anything about secret or confidential, or law enforcement sensitive. They didn't use any of those terms. So certainly they can file a motion to get it done. And I'm sure the trustee would be more than happy to side with the public and say, because the trustee wants the thing to be made public. It's a FSC, and I guarantee it's something negative about them why they say, no, we want it to keep it, hold it in abeyance until we finish, until we get a chance to talk about it. Just seal it for now while we talk about it. But regarding Bolt, one of the things that you have to be careful, and Usain, remember now when this thing started, I tell us if you give me a call, tell us if you give me a call, but listen, you run up and down with the lawyer, and January 17th, right? I think it was January 17th. I'm looking at something here. It says here that January 17th, Bold planning legal action. SSL given 10-day ultimatum to return missing US 12.7 million. That was January 2023.
Yeah, that got.
You see, and me tell us if you call me, and you did it with the lawyer, run around and issue ultimatum, and you see what the ultimatum get you? It get you frustration. Because, like Anne-Marie said, your lawyer should have filed all kind of things right now. Should have filed it from way back then. Him should have looked for international, him should have bring down shame on the Jamaican government through international involvement and said, look, this is what I'm saying, this is what happened, and this is what's not happening. We're not getting transparency from the government in terms of letting people know what actually happened there. Even though you can still do it, but Bolt, you don't listen. You don't listen. You're right, Unique Queen. Bolt should have changed his lawyer and employer. I said him should do that from a long time. And I said it when him come out with a 10-day thing, and I said, he's not going to get any answer, and so we're going to see how good him lawyer is. If him lawyer going to be aggressive and say, me go to 10 days, and no respond, well, the gloves are off right now, and we are going to deal. But it's over a year. It's approaching, what, it's a year and 9 months? A year and, yeah. Yeah. And it's fast approaching 2 years. And that issue is ultimatum and nothing will happen. So Bolt, we're still there, And if you're still interested, you can give me a call, you can give me a call, you can give us a call. But you need to do something, because otherwise this thing is not going to move. Because you know what happened? Them look upon you and your lawyer and them say, so right now, boy, shape on our shape. When I tell them to say fair, and them say fair, I want to not move at all. So when I draw a line, I said, when you can't cross them and they cross the line, some of them I look on them. So, not now going for you, brother. So you need to call me and make we get involved on this case here, because you're a lawyer. I'm not going to accuse him of anything, except to say that Who knows? Maybe him feel limited. Maybe him get threats. Who knows? Who knows? But so over here, we know them things are not gonna happen. Them things are not gonna happen because we live in our society as a way. If them ever dare pick up the phone and make a phone call and issue no threat or anything like that, people depend on them case right away. Law enforcement depend on them case and a prison. So them not gonna do that. Devon, me not see a number, Devon Cooper. Me not see a number.
I put a message in the chat for him to send it to the WhatsApp number to us, and then we will make sure you get it.
Right. So Devon, there, check the chat. I'm gonna resend you something and say just send it to a number, and then we'll get it.
I'll put the number again.
So Byron, so that's what I'm saying, Byron. You raise a hell of a point there when you say, well, right, no, boy, I'm frustrated and things like that. But the frustration now is I hope I'm not taking blood pressure medication because the frustration they have built up for over a year now, from January of last year, in millions gone, and the man worked so hard. The man worked so hard to secure him future, and in future now in somebody's pocket, or it might be in somebody's house.
Yeah, I want to ask a question, Ratty, right? As it relates to, try to bell the cat another way, try to use alternative means, might be to get into SSL investigation and open it. Now, like where Bolt is concerned, you think Bolt would have a better reach if he tried to use, might be, said a lawyer from the United States, or is a matter of jurisdiction?
No.
Right?
No, go ahead.
Just use a lawyer from the United States, right? And so then when it comes to, sense of disclosure and all of that, right? To the fact that the lawyer is an external entity, then things would get more transparency, more some level of clarity to the fact that he's using an outside lawyer to dig into SSL. Could we get somewhere in that regards?
I believe that they would be able to get somewhere in that regard. Even if he keep the Jamaican lawyer, but remember now, Bolt did have a PR machine, He may have a PR machine running when he may have run and a broke world record, set world record, and do all of these things, right?
Yes.
He can still use that PR machine and get a foreign lawyer, right? Exactly. I'm available, but he not use me because I use anybody. And then when do know, Bolt is well loved. Is a global figure. Bolt could have come to America and say, listen, I want to go up on the CNN, or I want to go up on Fox, or I want to go up on 60 Minutes or whatever and do a thing. And they would gladly take that story and shine a spotlight on it in Jamaica. And believe me, the government would have given back him money already. Even if they could get it from somewhere and give him, they would have given him. But him sit down there and him not think. He must say, him use a PR machine, him use a PR machine well for promoting brand. And then here's a case now where him really need to use it now for get back him money, and him don't use it. You're right, he could have get them have PR firms over here where if him approach them and say, I mean, me not tell him not what no, it's just that him not use him with it. Him get so caught up the money missing and it's like it just scrambled up in brain. Him should just say, all right, you know what? I have a guy at Jamaica, but the guy at Jamaica can't really help me more than so. So now I'm gonna go overseas and get a PR firm. I'm gonna get a lawyer. I'm gonna get one of them lawyers that in the spotlight, one of them lawyers that will come out and do things. And him just say, all right, we could reach out to all of the media houses them. And him do today's show, him do 60 Minutes, him do CNN, him do Fox, just spend like about 3 days and do it. And you see how fast them get the money. You see how fast them get back the money. Yeah.
What I'm thinking and trying to put myself in both shoes, as Larkin commented it there as well. Seeing that he's an heavyweight in terms of he's well loved all over the world. Everybody knows him. He's a Jamaican. And he's always carried the name of Jamaica with him anywhere that he goes and try to lift up the name of Jamaica. So with this, that happens now. It is a disgrace on us, yes. But if both come out and start ring it on the mountaintop more, it is going to be even a bigger disgrace to us. So I think he's trying to save the country that, you know, magnitude of disgrace. Then that's just how I'm looking at it. And
well, here's the thing. Well, you have to make up in mind. You have to make up in mind. Because here's what I'm going to do. Here's if a good PR company would have be able to separate issue and say, it's not disgracing Jamaica, it's disgracing the Jamaican people who are involved with SSL, whether it's government people or private industry people, and there are people who can parse the issues for him. So he have to make up in mind, do I want to go that route or do I just want to sit back and have no money? And here's the thing, him should do it from Jump Street, because guess what? Some of the money they've gone long time. And so what happened now, him probably will get back pennies on the dollar, when him could have get back a lot more. So he make that decision that boy, I mean now go out there. But if that's what he did, that me now go out there and go disgrace my country. But you're not going out there and disgrace the country, because he could have go out there now. He could have go to America and say, listen, folks, I'm telling all of you, if you really love me, support the Jamaican economy. Jamaica is a beautiful place, beautiful people. But as far as the financing, my finance is concerned with this particular company here, it is a problem. It is a problem. And if we separate the two of them, yeah, and at the same time, still put the message that Jamaica is a beautiful place, beautiful people, lots of things going on there. Come and support us and whatnot. And then just said, and then could have said, answer, but listen, folks, I'm not focusing on the Jamaica where everything is fine, where beautiful people, beaches, blah, 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 blah. I'm focusing on this company, SSL, that I put my money in. And, and you know what would happen, Anne-Marie? They could have done a program on SSL and separate it from Jamaica. Yeah.
And I think that Bolt need to step out and have that done, because he's not disgracing Jamaica if he makes that move. The persons who Bolt is going to disgrace are the thieves, because the thieves need to be disgraced. When you look at an icon like Bolt, right, that sell Jamaica, none of these thieves who are in SSL don't sell Jamaica, right? And look what happened. Look what transpired here. So I'm saying that, you know, to me, in terms of getting something done, because to do it from Jamaica, remember we're talking about systemic corruption. Systemic corruption. You have a lot of stonewalling, right? The DPP seems to be ruling in favor of the corruptors, put it that way, that based on you know, certain patterns of, you know, judgment being made, right, as it relates to statute of limitation, and we're talking about abuse of process and all these mediums not to put, you understand, certain case into the judiciary, right? It is not like the DPP saying, okay, all right, let me stay out of the way and put this into the judiciary and make the judiciary make the judgment, right? I think that some of these cases, if the DPP step out of the way, or the corruption prosecutor step out of the way and said, okay, what we have, right, let us put it into the judiciary, Ratty, right? Let us hear from the judiciary, right? Because if there was some prosecutor who decided that, okay, for the process of checks and balance and transparency and fairness to all, right? Then guess what? Whatever evidence being collected and hard work put in by the Integrity Commission investigators, okay, let me just put myself out of it and have it put into the judiciary. Make the judiciary make the determination. Yes, we know that the Constitution allowed Paula Llewellyn, or the DPP, so to speak, right, to you know, start a case and, you know, complete a case. But you are going to tell me that when it comes to, you understand, some cases, you can see where the DPP put all the energy, right? And even when, right, there are certain breakdown in the case, right? Particularly, you know, and I don't want to be over speaking on this, where vice cartel case is concerned, where you have tampered jewelry, it did not matter, you know, as it relates to accuracy for the judge, for Paula Llewellyn. It was expediency for Paula Llewellyn, right? In terms of just wanting to rush it through. Then when it comes to, you know, this situation that we are dealing with, right? Now, I mean, Paula Llewellyn, it's on the reverse. You understand? She doesn't want to utilize expediency over accuracy. She prefer to utilize accuracy and then inject into that what you call a lengthy due process. That due process. No, look how long. Look how long. No, look how long the Prime Minister has given. Look how long the Prime Minister has given time, sufficient time plus time, over 3 years, to have a statutory declaration certified. And even as we speak, my Jamaican people, the Prime Minister's statutory declaration cannot be certified. And so then clearly the government want to use bullyism, and even the government has spoken on it in terms of forcing the Integrity Commission to have the Prime Minister's statutory declaration certified. Under what grounds? Under what basis? Then now you see the Prime Minister now is fighting so hard, not wanting FID to investigate. So you tell me now that you have someone who is innocent, right? Someone who is not guilty of all of what we are seeing in the report, and want to prove he's innocent. Why the Prime Minister don't come to the fore and say, all right, my Jamaican people, right? You voted for me and you all put your trust in me, right? Let me prove my innocence, you understand, by participating with the system, right? The Prime Minister should step aside and allow FID to investigate. But obviously the Prime Minister is doing all the objections, right? All the interruption, all the means possible to interrupt and disrupt. I don't understand. The Prime Minister is just playing his hand and showing the entire world that he's guilty. Lachlan said, what should the Prime Minister do if the Supreme Court rejects his filing on the IC? No, well, that's a very, leave up that there. What Lachlan said here, Ratty, what should the Prime Minister do if the Supreme Court rejects his filing on the IC report? Number one, you know, he's going to look extremely bad. Because, no. And I mean, based on what Lachlan said, Ratty, is the PSOJ, is the umbrella group of church. Because this is now putting the Prime Minister into a corner. You know. This is a bold-headed move in a Ratty. The Prime Minister made, you know. And so then if the Supreme Court kicks that out, which we all believe that the Supreme Court is going to kick it out, will the Prime Minister go from there? I am saying now, isn't that the Prime Minister need to take away himself if that happens?
Well, look, if that happens, should that happen? I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen. I think they're going to reject the filing. Yeah, I think they're going to reject the filing. But then he can always appeal. Yeah, I know. I'm surprised at me too. And I said, count on my mom. I said, no, the wrong thing, man. But yeah, I think look, him going on this road, him can't turn back. Him have to go appeal. Him have to go appeal and them turn it down.
But what is the appealing for wrongdoing?
Yeah, pure foolishness him have to appeal for on all of these grounds.
It's exactly what he's doing. Legalize wrongdoing.
Okay.
Ridiculous.
You know, again, I don't know why. Maybe me I see something with nobody else, with the people in Jamaica not seeing. But there is a section, and I think we went over it last week, and it's worth going over again for those of you who did not see it last week, or those of you who saw it last week and may have forgotten. Here is a section. Hold on a second. 52. Where is it? Hold on 1 second. 50. Okay. Hold on 1 second. There's something I just want to show people where the court, I think the court have a chance to just get rid of this case here once and for all. Here it is. Okay. All right. Let me put this up. Here we go. All right. Again, folks, I don't know if I'm seeing this, and I'm open to being fully corrected because again, I don't practice law in Jamaica, but I'm looking at the Integrity Commission Act of 2017 and Section 55. It says to me that there are only 3 bases for bringing an action in court against, or any action against the Integrity Commission. 1, gross negligence. You must show that big mistake they make. Or you must show malice. Or you must show that they use unreasonable force. And if you can't show any of those 3 things, then you out. No, I haven't seen, again, I've glanced over the Prime Minister's thing, but I don't remember seeing anything about gross negligence in there, any objections on his part regarding gross negligence or malice or the use of unreasonable force. And look at what it's, and if you look at 55, just look at 55. Go on, let me big it up here. Just look at 55.1, people.
Yes.
It says, no proceeding shall be brought against any person in respect of any action carried out by the person in the performance of his functions under this act. So it's saying there that you cannot bring any action against anyone in the Integrity Commission if they're doing it in furtherance of their duties, meaning that if he's doing what he's legally obliged to do, you can't bring any action except, and here's the exception number 2. It says no proceeding shall be brought in 1. It says except in the event of gross negligence, malice, or the use of reasonable force. And then 3, subsection 3 goes on to emphasize the point. It says except as specified under subsection 2. And remember, folks, subsection 2, gross negligence, malice, or the use of unreasonable force. It says except if you have any one of those. Look at the rest of the sentence for number 3. It says no proceedings whatsoever. You know what no proceedings whatsoever mean? No proceedings whatsoever. That's what it means. No proceedings whatsoever. Legal proceedings, whether it's criminal or civil, no proceedings are administrative. No proceedings whatsoever shall lie against the commission or any person authorized by the commission, and that would include the director of investigation, right, and the others. And look what it said, for anything done, reported or said by the commission in the performance of its functions under this act. So for me, if I'm a judge, I'm going to look at 55.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at 55 and say, okay, guess what now, Mr. Prime Minister? Show me now where all this content we are talking about, show me where it's gross negligence. Prove the elements of gross negligence to me. Not just tell me it's gross negligence. There are elements to the crime. There are elements to this action. Show me the elements. Show me factually where the Integrity Commission committed gross negligence in the performance of their duties. And if you can't show me that, then show me malice. Show me they do it with malice. And if you can't show me that, show me they use unreasonable force against you. And guess what, Mr. Prime Minister? If you can't show me any one of them 3, case dismissed.
Case dismissed. So right here that we are looking at, the Prime Minister has no grounds.
No grounds. No grounds. He might have a yam ground. I'm going to dig up his yam, but he might have a yam hill, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Based on this, what the Prime Minister is doing is just delay tactics.
Delay. 55. 55. Yes, take it away.
Take it away. No grounds.
Yeah.
So we know him can't win. So just delay tactics he's playing. Right, but it is terrible, it is disgraceful, right? It is embarrassing that the Prime Minister, right, found himself in this conundrum. Embarrassing to every Jamaican. This is
dig himself deeper into it.
exactly. This is an international embarrassment. Trust me. So, ladies and gentlemen, of course.
Says he didn't sign the document.
Remember, he didn't sign the documents. No grounds to bring a case against the IC. There you go. All right. So, Ratty, I want to say big thanks, right, to pass through Mystic Sensation. And, you know, any final words before we close? Because we're closing up.
Yeah, let me just tell everybody that the Saturday, tune in this Saturday, we're planning to do a program on Minister Nigel Clark. I spoke with Dr. Ben, he's coming back, and there is one other feature we have. I don't remember it, but tune in on Saturday. And then also on Saturday, we'll make an announcement regarding our Wednesday program, because I think we've been promising, and we don't want to be like the Prime Minister.
Yes.
We want to deliver. So I think we're going to start next week. It looks like we're going to start next week, Wednesday. And the Wednesday program is just, it will be just me alone and people just calling, because we can't take calls on it. We used to take calls on the Saturday program, but it ate into too much of the time. So now we decide, and we have I'm proud to say I have a group of advisors, and they're far better than anything the Prime Minister can assemble. Trust me. When we meet on a Monday night, I mean, it's just ideas that flow from these folks, and some of them in the chat, they know who they are, and we're going to start on Wednesday. And so the advisor said, listen, don't take calls on the Saturday program, do a Wednesday program, and then you just take calls and you just answer questions. You don't really, it won't really require much effort on your part, because most of the time, almost 100% of the time, people will be calling and talking about the issues that you raise on a Saturday, or you discuss on Mystics program or some other program, Lonesome's program, some other program, but they didn't get a chance to ask questions. So it's a chance for the people now to kind of, interact with me, and then we can talk, and then we'll go from there. So we're going to make that announcement on Saturday. We're just waiting for a few more things, and then that's it. The website is up and running. The taxes have been dealt with. I'm trying to think what else. Can't think of anything else except to say, Anne-Marie Byron, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure joining you on a Tuesday night, because it's always relevant topics. And like I said, I enjoy being on the program with both of you, because you come prepared, you really come prepared, and you keep me on my toes. And every time I come, I learn something, because I know when I come on a Tuesday, I'm going to say something. I'm going to hear something that I haven't heard before, or I'm going to see something that I haven't seen before. And that just makes me more aware. I was gonna say smarter, but no, I'm not smart. I'm just experienced. I'm just experienced. I'm not smart. So it just makes me more aware of what's going on, and give me more stuff to help prepare for Saturday. So again, thank you for having me, and thanks to all of you in the chat room. You posed some excellent questions as usual, and those of you watching, big up to all of you. And looking forward to see you on Saturday. Thanks again.
Thank you. All right. Blessings, Ratty. Always a pleasure to have you here. All right.
All right.
Any final word? All right. Thanks, Ratty. Blessings.
All right. Cool.
All right. Cool. Any final word?
And just guys remember to donate to the One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation. It's for a worthy cause.
All right.
And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Tuesday night, really appreciate each and every one. Remember,
Gilly.
It's gonna be on the Titans on Thursday. We'll be back on Friday, the usual time. Remember, the time for Tuesday start of the year is depending on our work schedule. Both of us were able to get away early enough this evening to start at 6:30. But on Fridays, it's definitely 5:30, although sometimes times crunch. But we've been able to manage our time to keep it at 5:30 on Fridays. We're going to have a time change on November 3rd.
Okay.
So Jamaica is going to go 2 hours ahead, because fall, we fall we roll back.
Yes.
Spring we go
Go
forward.
forward.
So we're gonna be rolling back by 1 hour. So we're gonna have to maybe look at time adjustment.
Yes.
After that. But anyway, we'll get to that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. And also remember town hall on Sunday, and remember to go over and support the other channels. What else? Ratigan is on Saturday, I think you said.
Yes.
And remember to go over and support Aromatic, Bolo VR, and all the other channels.
Yes.
Cut off the press, Anissa Bell Rose, everybody blazing the fire. Maybe doing it in a different way, but the
talk your mind. And
so please go over and everybody support. It's one movement, one voice, but maybe different methods,
different platforms, one voice.
Keeping the government, trying to keep the government in check.
All right.
And make them more accountable.
Bless yourself. All right.
So guys, thank you so much. Have a blessed and wonderful night, and have a wonderful rest of the week. Until next time, we're out.
All right. And hot topic.